So we have an unprecedented situation.
Georgia, they were the number one.
They did all the things that could be added.
Let's get this out of the way. This ain't where they imagined they'd be.
I feel awful for their players and their coaching staff.
If that hits you in your feelings, you're not alone.
I know our players, they're disappointed.
I personally feel like we deserve to be here.
We're talking about the two-time defending national champs and an undefeated Power 5 champion.
The ACC champs.
What's my definition of success? Quitting when you're told to just quit. Giving more when you got nothing left.
Two of the best teams from this season playing in one of the most treasured bowls. Florida State.
Go put your stamp on it. You go finish.
Georgia.
I know how it responds. I've seen this team do it.
Each seeking one more win. In the 90th Orange Bowl.
We welcome you to the Capital One Orange Bowl. This is the Rams Truck Kickoff. Since New Year's Day 1935, this game has been home to some of the greatest teams, players, memories that college football's ever produced. And now today, it features the undefeated ACC champions, the Florida State Seminoles, against the Georgia Bulldogs, the reigning back-to-back national champions. Joe Tessitore alongside Jesse Palmer, and let's size up the unique circumstances surrounding this game. The Noles did everything they possibly could to prove inclusion into the college football playoffs, that they are worthy of that. Georgia, meanwhile, had an SEC record 29-game win streak before falling short in the conference championship game. And now, Jesse, here we are with this matchup with a stark contrast in the two rosters taking the field.
There's a lot of guys on these teams with NFL futures, so a lot of players had a big decision to make whether or not they were going to play in this game, Joe. For Florida State, there's a lot of opt-outs, but that's a huge opportunity for a lot of very young, talented players to show what they can do here today. You're going to see a lot of true freshmen for the Seminoles go. They're very highly recruited guys. They're future stars. They just haven't seen the field this year because in some cases they're backing up first-round picks. For Georgia, however, a lot of those guys have decided to play in this game, and they've embraced this concept of finishing what you start. They want to take the field. They want to send the seniors out with 50 career wins. That would be a Georgia record. It's a team that has accomplished so much these last several years. They want to take the field together one more time.
Let's look at the Ram Trucks player spotlight and look no further than the guy who says, I'm not just playing, I'm coming back to be a Heisman frontrunner. That's Georgia's starting quarterback, Carson Beck. He was sensational this year, completing over 72% of his passes. A first-year starter, patiently waited his turn to be the man. And Katie George, he's not going anywhere.
Well, if there's one thing I've learned from my conversations with Carson Beck this week, it's this guy hates to lose. He told me it took him 2 weeks to finally go back and watch the SEC championship film because he was so upset about how things ended in Atlanta. Yes, this is a team that's accustomed to playing for national championships. For those wondering how motivated Georgia players are today, Beck said, as a competitor, this is what I live for. He said, I don't care if this is a playoff game, an exhibition, or a pickup game in your backyard. When the ball drops, I'm going to do everything in my power to beat you. So to question Beck's commitment to this game or his teammates' desire to win an Orange Bowl, well, that would be disrespectful and insulting, Tess.
Well, Katie, he's a very special talent, no doubt about it. The thing that jumps out when you watch film of Carson Beck is the arm strength. He can make NFL-type throws into really small windows. Here's a stick route to Brock Bowers, the anticipation throwing before the tight end turns around. Then how about Rosemy Jackson running a post? Again, in between three defenders, anticipation. This is the type of throw you have to make if you're going to have success on Sundays, and Carson Beck will one day down the road, but he's going to need that arm talent in this game specifically, Joe, because Florida State's defense has a lot of speed. They've been so good this year defending the pass.
One of the great traditions of college football. You see him circling there. The great Appaloosa horse Renegade and Chief Osceola and that flaming spear, a tradition that was born back in 1978. We've had 6 different Renegades, 16 different riders. And now Chief Osceola will lead out the ACC champions, the undefeated Noles. Group of young men that this week have been tremendously focused under head coach Mike Norvell. Those who have made the decision were far less concerned about what happened with the selection committee and that reveal 4 weeks ago. those who are taking advantage of a chance to showcase themselves and have a great future ahead.
It's a team, Joe, that really has had to fight through a lot of adversity this year. They've shown their resilience time and time again. You think about the double-digit point comeback wins, injuries to key players. All they've done is find ways to win. And that's what's been so impressive about Florida State this year. And here they are now that they're dealing with the disappointment of not getting in the college football playoff. So they've had to try and find a way to turn the page. But Mike Norvell and this coaching staff is really excited about the opportunity these young players have here in this game to go and compete against the defending back-to-back national champion Georgia Bulldogs.
So many prized young prospects we will see today. So much emerging talent that's been recruited by both coaches, as you see Kirby Smart in position. But here come the Noles with a young group ready to take the reins of what has been a magical season of finding a way to win week after week. Of course, for the past 2 years, the season finale for the Dogs was set for a national title conquest. Now it's about finishing what they started, says Coach Smart. It's about playing to their standard. In this Capital One Orange Bowl, a chance, Jesse, to send out the seniors as the winningest group in the grand history of Georgia football.
Well, you said it, Joe. I mean, this is a Georgia team that's used to competing for national championships this time of year. And we're sort of in this age of college football, too, where, you know, if we're not competing for a national championship, then why are we playing? The fact that they have so many guys that have decided to come back and play in this game for each other, to play in a special bowl game like the Orange Bowl and have this experience one more time to send those seniors out on the right foot, Joe, that's kind of an overarching mindset that you don't see very much anymore in college football. It's something that needs to be acknowledged and it needs to be celebrated.
You spend some time with Kirby Smart this week and you'll quickly realize a little difference in the approach, the tone, and the messaging. Their 23 season, 4 wins over top 25 ranked teams, including a win over newly minted Cotton Bowl champ Mizzou, who topped Ohio State last night. They did have to deal with injuries. Ladd McConkey missed time, as did the best tight end in college football, Brock Bowers. He rushed back from surgery, still not fully recovered. He's not going today. Georgia was the #1 team in the country for most of the season. That was up until that thriller in the SEC championship game, the 3-point loss to Alabama. That ended the win streak. As the captains head out for the coin toss.
By Baptist Health.
Captains, congratulations on a terrific season and welcome to the 90th Capital One Orange Bowl. Georgia, as visitor, you're going to make your choice of heads or tails. Orange Bowl logo is the heads, basket of oranges, tails, your choice. Tails is called. I'm going to ask Orange Bowl Committee Chair Lisa Johnson-Phillips to please make the toss for us. That is tails.
Want to defer, kicking this way.
Okay. Georgia has won the choice and deferred to the second half.
Number 5, Florida State. Number 6, Georgia. As you're watching the Rams truck kickoff. High above Hard Rock Stadium, where aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Katie's with Coach Smart.
Thanks, Tess. Coach Smart, what kind of message does it send that so many of your guys here today that had a decision in front of them decided to finish what they started?
They care about each other. They love each other. It's a well-connected team.
What was the final challenge you gave to this group before taking the field?
Do it for these seniors. Got a chance to turn 49 to 50, and it's really a special group that's in here, and we want to send them out the right way.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
That is a message that has been echoed all week long by everybody associated with the program. Jared Zirkle will be kicking off to Mike Norvell's return man, Deuce Spann, who had a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown against Duke. That was his first career touchdown in special teams. Brock Glenn, the true freshman quarterback, who started the ACC championship game, will get his second start in moments. As we are underway here in Miami. And Spann's going to take it out. And special teams coverage from the Dogs is going to trip him up near the 10-yard line. As coming in to make that play was Dan Jackson. All right, Brock Glenn, the true freshman, you know the circumstances. The superstar Jordan Travers suffered a fractured lower leg, so he was knocked out of action for the remainder of the season. Tate Rodemaker couldn't start in the ACC championship game because of a concussion protocol situation. He's in the transfer portal, so here we are with Glenn again, Jesse.
He's a talented guy. He was an Elite 11 quarterback coming out of high school, originally an Ohio State commit. He can throw it. He can also run. Very athletic.
We'll start on the ground with Holmes as he goes ahead for about 4 yards, tackled by Brinson. And we're going to talk about this all day long of who's not here for Florida State. And the list is topped by the guy who was the backup to Jordan Travis, Tate Rodemaker, who's in the transfer portal. The good news is they have the offensive line intact as Glenn gets it complete. Right at that line to gain.
Well, I just like the timing here by Glenn, getting it out before Portier turned around on the curl. And that was something that I think Brock Glenn had some problems with in the ACC title game. He was just playing a bit slow. He wasn't anticipating throws, took some sacks when he didn't need to, but already the clock seems to be going off a little faster in his head.
7 yards to Portier. And this is Ja'Kai Douglas, who mostly has played receiver this year, but does have experience playing running back in the past.
You know, Jesse, Brock Glenn said he learned a great deal from that ACC championship a few weeks ago. He said the game is so much faster than in practice. He said I needed to get through my reads quicker and get the ball out faster. So that was his focus these last few weeks in preparation for Georgia. He wants to be more decisive today and trusts what he sees.
3 yards on that last play, Katie, from Douglas. As this time there's not much there. He's tackled at the line of scrimmage, driven back. So Trey Benson, who's the speedy running back, he is opted out. Rodney Hill's in the transfer portal, another running back. And Toafili is injured. He was the MVP of the ACC championship game, so they've had to take some receivers and shift them to the back.
A lot of inexperience now out on the field to convert this third down. And remember, against Louisville, Florida State was only 2 of 16 on third down. A big reason why they just didn't have any threat in the vertical passing game. So already a massive test for Brock Glenn in this offense.
3rd down and 6. The freshman Glenn gets it out quickly, but it was thrown behind and over the intended target, Williamson.
You got to think Georgia comes into this game and they've seen all those guys that you just showed, Joe, that are opting out or jumped in the portal. And they're going to try and stop the run, win early downs, and force Brock Glenn to have to beat them throwing the football.
Alex Mastromano, as he skies this down, takes a bounce inside the 30 and all the way down to the 20-yard line. So an excellent 60-yard punt from Mastromano. Carson Beck, over 72% of his passes completed. Big season in his first year, taking over for the 2-time national champion Stetson Bennett.
Well, and every single week you've seen this guy continue to improve and continue to make plays, which has really helped his confidence. The numbers are off the charts. That 72% completion percentage, that would be a school record. And it's impressive, Joe, because in Mike Bobo's offense, this is a vertical passing attack. They throw it down the field. His arm talent, his accuracy, just been sensational.
Kendall Milton able to break a tackle, lower the shoulder, and go ahead for 8 yards. Tackled by Thomas.
Well, I got to think Georgia's coming into this game wanting to run the ball. 5 guys in Florida State's front 7 are not, 5 starters in the front 7 are not playing in this game, so they're going to test them early.
And they do it with tempo. And Milton goes straight ahead, breaks another tackle, and keeps his footing out past the 40-yard line.
Yeah, the zone run is the bread and butter run for the Georgia Bulldogs, and you're seeing this offensive line right now very early. They're firing off the ball. They're climbing and getting into the second level, hats on hats. And this Kendall Milton at 6'1", 220, he is a load to bring down, especially if he gets ahead of steam. You don't want to let him get started because he's hard to tackle.
14 yards from Milton. Cash Jones, the running back, who splits out. 4 receivers to the top. Carson Beck looks that way quickly, gets it to Smith as he's unable to hold on to it. Arian Smith, they'd love to get him into space with his pure speed.
Well, he's got tremendous speed, and normally when 11's on the field, something's up. Florida State's got to be ready for that. It's either going to be a deep shot or it's going to be a reverse or a screen, just trying to get number 11 Smith the ball in his hands. He's got to do a better job with his focus and concentration there.
Dejon Edwards now in at running back. Beck goes over the middle, gets it complete. Love it. Pass midfield and yards after the catch. First down, Georgia. Greedy Vance able to make the tackle.
Well, Dominic Lovett's working one-on-one against Greedy Vance in the slot. Just an option route, going to break inside. So much suddenness and quickness from Lovett. Remember, he's a transfer from Missouri who was an all-SEC player a year ago, and he's been a huge weapon for Carson Beck working the middle of the field.
51 catches, 3 touchdowns this year for Lovett. 17 yards, 13 coming after the catch. Beck gonna wind it up. Ball was stripped. That was Patrick Payton, the lone remaining starter on that Florida State defensive line, with a sensational play.
And he beat 2 tight ends on that one, Joe. That was awesome athleticism. He beat Oscar Delp at first, and then the true freshman Lawson Lucky tried to get him. But you're seeing the length of Patrick Payton at 6'5", 240 pounds. He's got those long arms. And I'll tell you, Georgia is really lucky that Payton didn't jump on his own fumble right there.
Well, the guy who was lucky is Lawson Lucky, who recovered it for Georgia.
That was almost a trifecta. Sack, force, fumble, fumble, recovery.
2nd and 20. They set up the screen, and another good defensive play as Omar Graham comes in and tackles Oscar Delp right away.
You've got to love the energy that this Florida State defense is playing with early. So many guys out of the game. They've got all these backups, and we talked about these young, talented players. That time, it's the redshirt freshman Omar Graham sniffing out the screen, now setting up 3rd in California.
Patrick Payton put Georgia in a hole, and now Carson Beck facing a 3rd and 22. Beck with time drives it over to Lovett. Lovett cuts back against the grain and is able to get inside the 35-yard line, where Conrad Hussey, the true freshman, who's getting the start at safety today.
And it's a bowl game, and it's 4th down. You're sort of in that no man's land, so you're expecting Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo here to go for it on 4th. Joe, they've been phenomenal on 4th down this year, completing 80%, which is 3rd best in the nation.
They got 19 yards when it was 3rd and 22, so now a 4th and 3. Back on 4th down, pressure up the middle, gets it out quickly, and it's incomplete. Looking for Dylan Bell. It's a turnover on downs. That Florida State defense steps up.
What a great first series for this Florida State defense, getting some momentum with a huge 4th down stop. Gotta love the energy the Noles are playing with here early.
Mike Norvell loving the effort from his defense with all these young pups in the spotlight today.
The Capital One Orange Bowl is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Some of the classic programs going through the years. The Capital One Orange Bowl. Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator for the Noles, has to be thrilled with the start his defense just had. Georgia with all the success on 4th down this season, and then they get the stop. Here's the short pitch to the boundary to Holmes. So, Jesse, Georgia was 8 of 10 converting 4th downs this year.
No, they really were. And I think if you're Adam Fuller, I mean, you're just running your stuff, right? You see a lot of man coverage throughout the year. They get their safeties down close to the line of scrimmage to incorporate them in the run game. And the X's and O's, you don't tweak that stuff. You're developing young players. You want them to go out and execute your defense. That was a phenomenal job on that first drive.
Saw a shot of Jordan Travis looking on. Brock Glenn, the true freshman at quarterback. 2nd and 9. He's going to keep it, tries to cut back, but he is brought down immediately by Ingram Dawkins.
Yeah, really nice job of Dawkins staying home and getting Brock Glenn to the ground. Now setting up another 3rd down. A substitution for Georgia, getting speedier players on the field. They bring Jalen Walker out, who had 2 sacks against Alabama. He's a guy that can spy athletic quarterbacks, and he's a guy that can rush from the inside or the outside. Keep your eye on number 11 for the Bulldogs here.
He had a big 3rd down sack on Milroe in that championship game that forced a punt when Bama was threatening to score. Third down and 8, and you're just going to run it straight ahead for a gain of maybe half a yard as Walker made the tackle.
And a very, very conservative play call there by Mike Norvell offensively. And we've sort of seen that in the last 3 games without Jordan Travis offensively. Running the ball, wildcat, high percentage screens to win the game. Really relying on your defense week in, week out. But on that 3rd down, I think that's one, you know, this bowl game especially, you'd love to see them maybe open it up a little bit.
Mastromano taking his time, allowing the coverage to get down the field. Anthony Evans, the true freshman return man, from the 13-yard line. And he's going to get a good return out to the 30. Had a big one in the 4th quarter of the SEC championship game as well. Georgia and Florida State, as you're watching the Capital One Orange Bowl. Hey, how about this day of football? You got the Orange Bowl, and then we take you right to Lions Cowboys on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2 at 8 o'clock. What's the matchup you're looking at here?
The Lions able to run the ball. They've been so good this year with Montgomery and Gibbs, and that's really the one area defensively for the Cowboys, Joe. They've struggled stopping the run.
Yeah, and the Cowboys, of course, Jesse, you know, Jonathan Hankins, he's got that sprained ankle, big run stopper, so that's a critical matchup with Detroit. Montgomery and Gibbs and what they've been able to do this year.
I think Dallas won at home now in a row, 15 or something.
So that is tonight at 8 o'clock on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2. Mike Norvell has been stressing opportunity for all the young players with all the opt-outs from the transfer portal to those getting ready to the NFL draft, and we saw that feisty defense coached by Adam Fuller step up against Georgia on that first drive. Milton, as he gets it out to the 36-yard line. Tackled by Jackson. So you look at the defensive line for Florida State, Jesse. Jared Verse, the all-everything defensive end. He's not here. On the inside, Farmer, Fisk, love it. Fisk was a monster down the stretch of the season. They're not here. Only Peyton. He's the only returning starter of all this great defensive lineman we've seen all season.
He's already made a big play, but they've got other dudes too. And Darrell Jackson, who just made that last tackle, he's a 335-pound transfer from the Miami Hurricanes who started every game. I mean, they've got dudes, just guys you haven't heard of. And there's another big play.
Here's Daniel Lyons with the tackle.
And he's only a redshirt freshman. There's so much talent. This coaching staff has really amassed a lot. I mean, you just take a look at this defense. I mean, it's not just starters, but these are dudes. Jared Verse, you know, Bethune. Look at the back end, Dent and Renardo Green and Jerry and Jones. These are all guys that are going to play on Sundays and leaders on this defense. And Florida State, early with these inexperienced guys, they're going out making some good things happen.
Florida State's going to use a timeout defensively. 3rd and 4 when we return to the Capital One Orange Bowl. Taco Bell bringing the Live Más student section and students to the Capital One Orange Bowl. And tonight they're picking up the tab for the students for each school so that these passionate fans could come out and cheer their team. And for Florida State fans, Jess, you can go from Miami to opening up the season in Dublin, Ireland next year against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, get your passports ready. Get over to Trinity, see the Book of Kells, get some history. You might want to, and go have some fun in Temple Bar. Take it all in.
Maybe hydrate at Mulligan's or Donahue.
Yeah, there's also another great place to hydrate. Starts with the letter G, ends with the letter S. It's a very dark brown, frothy substance.
Here's a 3rd and 4. As Beck checks at the line. Dejon Edwards flanking him at running back. 3rd down and 4 for the Dogs, and complete to Dylan Bell, the versatile tight end running back, do-it-all offensive weapon for the Dogs.
Yeah, he does really good in these ISO routes, too. That time winning one-on-one on a slant against Azarie Thomas here. Does a nice job selling it outside, stems it, whips the head around, and a good, accurate throw, allowing the wide receiver to advance the football after the catch.
15 yards for Bell. Beck with a man in his face, and it was batted as he was trying to get free and find that passing lane, but Shaheem Brown was right there.
It's one thing that Adam Fuller loves to do as a D coordinator is bring the safety, this time coming this side, and they're trying to go back shoulder to Rosemy-Jacksaint down on the outside, but nice vertical, knocking it away. And I'm impressed watching this Florida State defense because guys are playing with great effort, but they're also running their stuff. Man-to-man coverage, being aggressive with safety blitzes, nothing has changed.
Second and 10. Beck with time. And he goes on a deep crosser to Rosemy-Jacksaint, complete for a 1st down.
That's a phenomenal job by Georgia's offensive line, giving Carson Beck a very clean pocket. They're going to kind of all slide this way a little bit, but there's a lot of space here for Carson Beck to just step up in, and when he throws on rhythm, boy, it looks special.
Quick to the line. Edwards gets free inside the 20 and kept his balance to get to the 15-yard line. Dejon Edwards.
And you've seen some tempo from Georgia's offense, and Mike Bobo calling the plays here, getting to the line of scrimmage early and handing it off to Edwards, who's got a little bit more wiggle and a little bit more speed than Kendall Milton has. These two, the 1-2 punch at running back for most of the season, they've really played well off each other.
Edwards missed a little bit of time early on, lingering knee injury. He has been down the stretch of the season. 11 rushing touchdowns for Edwards, 12 for Milton. What a 1-2 punch as Milton checks in now after Edwards went for 17. Here's Milton inside the 10 and right to the end zone. Kendall Milton. Yard touchdown run for Milton.
It's a great design using the fake reverse. Dominic Lovett coming this way is going to fake, and it's going to freeze Byron Turner that way, and it opens up a huge crease for Milton to cut back. He starts it to the left. You see Turner's just frozen, and there's just green grass for Kendall Milton to take advantage of.
Freshman Peyton Woodring on for the extra point. As Georgia marched 7 plays with the touchdown. A 15-yard touchdown run. Milton has a rushing touchdown now in 9 straight games as he is first to strike for the Dogs in the Capital One Orange Bowl. 7-zip, Georgia. College Football Playoff Foundation and ESPN are celebrating 10 years of teaming up to support teachers with the launch of a new postseason initiative, Touchdown for Teachers. $1,000 donation made to local schools for every touchdown scored during a bowl game. Visit touchdownforteachers.org for more information. 7-zip, Georgia. Grab some chunk plays early on. Kendall Milton already 5 rushes for 43 yards, averaging 8.6 per carry.
between series, Jordan Travis is seated right next to Brock Glenn. The two are extremely close. Travis really took Glenn under his wing this year and is still trying to help the true freshman. Mike Norvell came over at one point and gave Travis some information to relay to Glenn once he was off head. So while he may be unavailable to play, he still has a very important role on this team.
Katie, I love that. And just, I love the fact that he's here.
Yeah, well, he's a big motivation for this entire team. And how great is it to be able to look over and see the ACC Player of the Year and a guy that finished 5th in the Heisman, to pick his brain about what he's seeing as well. It's great for Brock Glenn.
Empty set now for the true freshman Glenn on first down. And he has protection, and he gets the completion to Portier. Jordan Travis, who suffered that gruesome leg injury back on November 18th. #1 in Florida State history in career touchdowns responsible for 97 touchdowns.
I mean, you just simply can't replace a guy of that caliber, both on the field, but I think just as importantly, Joe, in the locker room. And the leadership that he has shown throughout the course of the season. Everybody around the program has nothing but great things to say.
Span in the Wildcat as he gets it to Douglas, and Douglas catches a seam and has a first down. Now what's interesting here is this is how they found success in the ACC championship
with
game.
some Wildcat stuff with Toafili, you're right. So I think if you're Mike Norvell now, you've got a few added wrinkles in the running game. You're bringing in a wide receiver and a kick returner and putting him at quarterback, and a guy that was your starting slot receiver in Ja'Kai Douglas, he's now running from the slot and getting the jet sweep. You see Toafili right there, who is the ACC championship game MVP, and Spence stays in the game now at Q.
Toafili had a 73-yard run out of Wildcat in the ACC championship game. Here's Deuce, and this time he is wrapped up immediately by Tyrion Ingram Dawkins.
Look, C.J. Allen making the tackle, I think has a
C.J. Allen.
I think he has a chance, Joe, to be the next great Georgia inside linebacker. You talk about guys like Roquan Smith and Nakobe Dean. C.J. Allen, 6'1", 235 pounds, can run, and he is physical, plays with great instincts. They've got a dude for years to come here in Athens.
Oh, he's one of the breakout freshmen in all of college football. Glenn back into the game as they shift the 3 tight ends, 13 personnel with Holmes as the running back. Play action. Glenn going to launch it downfield, give the receiver a chance, and it is overthrown, looking for Darian Williamson.
I just like the aggressive play calling, though, Joe, because you didn't see that in the ACC championship game. They completed one pass vertically down the field. It was a curl route to Johnny Wilson on 3rd down. So here's a good look. It's a nice job by Glenn going through his progression, finding the matchup one-on-one against Dalen Everett, taking a shot at the post, and just see if Williamson can make the play.
Listen, past few weeks now, Glenn is getting the majority of the reps, so he's taking more ownership of the offense compared to that short notice start the week of the ACC championship game. Third and 9. Tried to go on the in cut. It's incomplete as he was looking for Douglas.
A really nice job that time by Everett, who they just attacked on the post throw, playing off and breaking on the in-breaking route. That time they showed blitz, they backed out, they were expecting a quick throw. Nice job in the secondary there by the Bulldogs on this drive.
Third punt of the day for Mastromano, the Aussie who was 4th nationally in net punting, as he knuckle punches this inside the 20. Evans stays away before it settles down near the 18. Hey, you know what is coming your way New Year's Day on ESPN. It is the college football playoff semis. #1 Michigan taking on #4 Alabama in the Rose Bowl game presented by Prudential. Of course, the traditional 5 p.m. Eastern kickoff. And at 8:45 from New Orleans, the All-State Sugar Bowl with #2 Washington up against #3 Texas.
So interesting in that to see if Michigan's defense can contain Jalen Milroe, one of the best athletes in the country, playing the quarterback spot. And then for Texas defensively, they're so good stopping the run. But that 3-headed monster Washington has at the receiver position, Odunze, Polk, and McMillan, probably the best in the nation. Can that secondary hold up?
Edwards wiggles his way to the 21.
You know, I've been impressed so far, Joe, with the explosive plays from Georgia's offense. That was a problem in the SEC title game against Alabama. They only had 5, and they count that by passes of 16 yards or more or runs of 12 yards or more. Already in this game, Joe, 7 of their 16 offensive snaps have gone for at least 14 yards.
Wow. Second and 7. Edwards gets that seal block on the outside, lowers the shoulders, leg drive, gets it out past the 30 for another first down for the Dogs.
It was big Micah Morris, Joe. You saw him at 330 pounds. He's a pulling guard, and he's going to be able to get that edge. You've got to be able to seal it in order to get this thing outside. They've got big athletic bodies up front. We talked about them liking the zone running game in that scheme, and here you're seeing some pin-pull strategy.
9 yards for Edwards. Beck now on first down. Downfield, and a diving effort for the interception, but unable to come up with it was Cypress.
Well, we talked about how when Arian Smith's in the game for Georgia, they like to take shots, and Beck was looking for his guy on a post throw. This is almost a tremendous interception by the Virginia transfer Cypress, laying out, and that's one he'd love to have back.
Top 10 passing defense in the country is Florida State. 2nd and 10. Beck hooks up with McConkey, and here goes Lad McConkey. As we've seen so many times through the years, his ability with quick feet in the open field.
Well, he's running a spot route. He has to find the soft spot in the zone quickly because Kalen DeLoach at linebacker number 4, he's racing to try to get that interception just a little bit late, but great timing on the throw by Beck.
22 yards with McConkey, and Milton. Look at Kendall Milton go! Chugging along inside the 10 and gives a little at the 5. What a first quarter he's having.
Well, you're making a business decision as a DB when you're having to tackle this guy. That time it was Ashlyn Barker, number 27 at safety. He's only a freshman. He's up top here. He's got to make this play in the hole, and he found out it's a lot easier said than done.
A 43-yard run for Kendall Milton. As that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Kendall Milton, 6 carries for 86 yards already here in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
Norvell, Kendall Milton found some success on the ground. What do you need to see from your defense here in the red zone?
We've had a couple missed tackles. Continue to tighten up our run fits. Gave him a little bit too much space. You had a miscommunication early, but ultimately, just you continue to play the next play and make plays when we get the opportunity to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Norvell's defense seeing Georgia with 8 plays of 15 or more yards in that first quarter. The last one going for 43 with Milton, which makes for a 1st and goal. Milton right into the end zone. His 2nd of the day.
Just really good push. It's not just the offensive line up front. Van Pranen at center gets a nice block, but it's also Oscar Delp at tight end here on the outside. Watch him just collapse. Just get a lot of movement. There's a lot of garnet jerseys going backwards right now in the run game, and the Bulldogs averaging about 10 yards a carry early in this one. That's the 6th rushing touchdown now for Milton in the last 3 games, Joe.
Well, you give credit to Oscar Delp there, Jesse, who has been living in the shadow of Brock Bowers for years, but is set to be a big-time player, both as a blocker and a receiver. Brock Bowers, the superstar tight end. 2nd straight year he won the Mackey Award as the nation's top tight end, but was dealing with the ankle surgery and midseason, brought himself back after 26 days, and then but you could tell he wasn't 100% in the SEC championship game. But consider that's an injury situation, which is really the stark contrast we're dealing with today of who's missing for Georgia is basically because of injuries compared to the circumstances with Florida State, Justin.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's starting to sort of demonstrate itself a little bit here on the field, especially with Florida State's run defense and their inability to really establish something throwing the football. But I think it's important if you're Florida State here to keep your foot on the gas. You're getting a chance in this game to develop young talent and guys. They're going to have a big role for your team on both sides of the ball in the future. And the only way I think you can get an accurate evaluation of these guys is to run your stuff. Let them see and show what they can do and stay aggressive and find out what happens. But there's a lot of young talent here on Florida State's team, and you're seeing kind of what you've seen throughout the course of the season from the Bulldogs.
Let's go to the studio and check in with Kevin.
All right, Tess, your Chick-fil-A move on the field. The Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. Roddy Jones. This is Glendon Miller, the pick six.
Miller does a great job sinking under the stop route. It's been all Maryland in this one. Defense getting involved, too.
Billy Edwards has a passing touchdown and one on the ground. 31-7 Tess over on ABC.
Thank you very much. And of course, we saw Ole Miss beat Penn State earlier in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Ole Miss is doing very well in the transfer portal, but they're going to be a force next year.
Walter Nolan and Barron from Tennessee and Uman Mielen from Florida. Got a lot of talent to help energize that defense.
Brock Glenn, quarterback for the Noles, only has 2 completions to this point. He is being chased down here, goes downfield, and there's completion number 3 as he hooks up with Kentron Portier.
Well, first off, I love the play call, moving the pocket, changing the launch point, and using Glenn's athleticism to your advantage. And a really nice job, too, there by Portier, getting the depth he needs to get on this comeback route. Really nice timing. The timing right now in the passing game already looks so much better than the ACC championship against Louisville.
It really does. And hopefully for Florida State, that bubbles up some confidence with the young Brock Glenn. Play action here with time. You talk about confidence. He wants a shot, and he gets it. What a play by Portier. How about it? Brock Glenn finding himself a bit.
Aggressive again, seeing the one-on-one matchup outside and giving his 6'3" receiver Portier an opportunity to use all of that wingspan to bring that one in. You know, Portier last year averaged 20 yards a catch. He was the star of the spring, but injuries have kept him off the field this year, and here he is with that opportunity, Joe, and he's making the most of it.
Back home here in Miami, played a year of high school football locally. 55-yard reception, 1st and goal. Glenn. This time he's gobbled up immediately by Williams.
Well, it's a nice job by Georgia's defense there, but I'll just say this. Those last 2 completions by Brock Glenn to Portier will do so much for that young true freshman quarterback's confidence. You need to have good things happen to believe they can keep happening. And you're seeing this guy grow up. You can't say enough about having a full week of practice to get himself mentally ready to go in this game. And you can tell he's studied the film. He's been doing a really nice job so far with his decision making.
First time today that Florida State's been in Georgia territory, and now it's 2nd and goal. Glenn looks left, incomplete. And he's looking for Williamson.
Yeah, this is big. You feel for Florida State here to have to punch one in and not a field goal. They need a touchdown here to kind of keep this momentum going and keep this thing together. But this is an area that Brock Glenn kind of got in trouble against Louisville, too, down in the red zone. We talked about not playing fast enough, not getting rid of the football on time. Took some sacks, took some negative plays. You cannot take one in this situation here.
3rd down and goal. So big Warren Brinson in that Georgia front looking for a stop here. Brock Glenn looking to cash in. To the end zone he goes. Incomplete. As Morlock, the 6'6" tight end, was his intended target.
It was the right decision by Brock Glenn, and I also think a very good throw. That time you're running the pump route to Morlock at tight end, and it's covered, and Glenn's trying to give him a back shoulder opportunity here. Morlock was trying to work over the top. I think if Morlock and him had been on the same page, Mike Norvell knows it. That was a touchdown.
Fitzgerald comes on for the short field goal attempt. He's had an excellent year, 18 of 20 as he gets the Noles on the board. So Brock Glenn with a 55-yard toss to Portier, and they cash in with a field goal.
The Capital One Orange Bowl is brought to you by Taco Bell and Allstate. You're in good hands.
It's Capital One Orange Bowl. You see Jimbo Fisher there celebrating one on the pass. It's Florida State's 11th appearance in the Orange Bowl. Hey, Jesse, by the way, I was up in Tallahassee a few weeks ago. I was invited to speak at the Touchdown Club, and Jimbo was there with his son, Ethan, who, of course, as you know, years ago was diagnosed with a rare genetic disease. And young Ethan won the Courage Award. High school senior football player going on to play college football.
Really?
A kicker.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Playing college football. And we congratulate Ethan for that. Katie.
Veteran linebacker Tatum Bethune for Florida State was questionable to play today. He had a procedure right after the ACC championship, so unfortunately he was a late scratch, but he's been trying to rally the troops on the sideline. Said, look, we had one play that went for 30 yards. We got to close with speed and tackle, believe in each other out there, give our offense some time, but we can do this. So trying to be a leader here, even on the sideline. Unfortunately, can't play today.
No, he can't. He was a star and a hero in that game with a huge fourth quarter interception in the end zone, Katie, and telling his guys, hey, we got to get better against the run right now. Giving up 10 yards a carry. It's not just up front, but linebackers and DBs and safeties filling. Got to start making some tackles.
Georgia with 110 rushing yards to Florida State's 10 yards rushing at this point. Dejon Edwards flanking Carson Beck. Beck off play action. And dragging with him was Oscar Delp, who goes up and tried to get over Kevin Knowles.
Listen, he's not Brock Bowers, and I don't know if in the future you're going to see him getting jet sweeps and reverses and playing running backs the way Bauer did too, but he's very athletic, and this is a guy who's, what, 6'5", 245. He's got some ups, but that's how you got to give Kevin Knowles credit. He was expecting it. He went up there and met him.
14 yards to Delp. Beck again with time, downfield shot, and into the hands of Dylan Bell. He has emerged as a big-time contributor this season.
And that's how you complete 72% of your throws. Ball placement like that. You couldn't walk the football to Dylan Bell and put it in a better place. Isaiah Thomas has perfect coverage on that play, and Carson Beck is able to drop it in the bucket.
31-yard reception for Dylan Bell. Carson Beck goes inside the program. They say everybody's buzzing. They're just thrilled with this proven leader announcing that he is returning for next year. Edwards untouched until he was 9 yards downfield, and then took the defender for a ride. That was Quindarius Jones, the corner, who was on his back.
But you know what I'm saying about the accuracy with Carson Beck too? It's like this is not a air raid offense where they're just dinking and dunking you all over the field in high percentage throws. I mean, your play action, you're standing in the pocket, 5-7 step drops, and you're delivering it downfield. The fact that he's completed 72% is just phenomenal.
Edwards, this is getting too easy for the Georgia running game. Straight ahead into the end zone. A 15-yard touchdown run for Dejon Edwards.
Well, there's a true freshman in at linebacker, Blake Nicholson. He's got to get outside, and he's got to be there and contain. But Ratledge at the right guard is able to climb up and get a block. And to your point, Joe, it's just way too easy right now. You heard Mike Norvell telling Katie early, the fits right now for Florida State's run defense are just not there.
Got a true freshman in Nicholson out there. Tatum Bethune not playing today. Transfer portal saw DJ Lundy off elsewhere. And Georgia with that goes 4 plays, 75 yards in under 2 minutes. And Edwards gets the 15-yard rushing touchdown. Milton has 2. Edwards has 1. And the Dogs are up 21-3 here at Hard Rock Stadium. It is the Capital One Orange Bowl. Back in early December in Atlanta, that SEC championship game. Number 1 Georgia at the time. Costly turnover against Alabama. The Tide got them. The 29-game win streak was over. 27-24 was the final. Jalen Milroe, a couple touchdowns. Nick Saban's 9th SEC title game. But then we've spent so much time with Kirby Smart, Jesse, and he says, listen, this is about playing to our standard on our terms today. You know, so many times you watch some of these bowl games, the non-playoff bowl games, and you see teams that don't take that approach, but it speaks greatly to the culture. Brock Bowers out because of an injury, still recovering, was not at 100% in that SEC championship game. 21-3, Georgia, 3 rushing touchdowns. And Span on the return, taken down, ball is out! And Georgia has recovered. That is Spear on special teams. So active coverage unit, and Cole Spear jumps on the ball, and Georgia's back in business.
And I think it was Cash Jones, a running back for Georgia, number 32, that runs right down the middle of the field, right there, and gets the hit, popping the ball loose. And a huge turnover for the Bulldogs here on special teams. Adding insult to injury after marching down the field, scoring a touchdown, now setting up Carson Beck inside the 30-yard line.
And there's been a lack of turnovers this year for Georgia.
If you make a big play on special teams, guess what? You can stay on the field, play running back.
And there is Cash Jones. It's only the 2nd fumble recovery for Georgia this season. McConkey, and he's going to weave his way into open space. Look at this from Ladd McConkey. My, oh my. A 27-yard touchdown off of that play.
Well, it's a trick double pass, and they're trying to throw it back to Cash Jones, who's going to be running down the seam. Kalen DeLoach was covering him, and there was an egregious defensive holding pass interference that somehow the referees didn't call, and it didn't matter anyway. Ladd McConkey able to make everybody miss and go score.
Ladd McConkey, who's been dealing with a high ankle sprain, has been pushing through the injury, was noticeably limping in the SEC championship game, was not at 100% health. If anybody could have opted out or said, listen, I'm taking a breather for this Capital One Orange Bowl, was Ladd McConkey. He said, I want to play.
He's the poster child for that finish what you've started attitude that Georgia's brought into this game.
That is now 12 plays that has gone for 15 or more yards for Georgia.
All right, so you're throwing it out to Ladd McConkey early, and it's going to be a double pass. And the guy that you want to keep your eye on is right here, Cash Jones, because he's going to run down the field on a seam route. Kalen DeLoach at linebacker is going to cover him one-on-one. And just take a look at what happened. He grabs his arm, completely turns him around. They didn't call it. And then look what Ladd McConkey's able to do. He goes out, he makes Patrick Payton miss in the open field, not easy to do. Makes another guy miss. There's great blocking downfield. And in a sudden change situation after getting the turnover on special teams, Mike Bobo decides to go for a trick play, catches Florida State off guard, and it is all Bulldogs.
What a career for Ladd McConkey. Coaches reacting, saying, yeah, just the way we drew it up. Yeah, that's it. The double pass that McConkey just turns into a dream play.
Trick plays can be good or they can go really bad if they're not executed right. You know, play callers, they love it when those things work out. And bowl games are fun, too, because a lot of play callers love to dial up that stuff.
Span on the return. Of course, the turnover last time out. This time he secures the ball, but the coverage unit gets to him right away. All right, we were getting into the conversation, and then you just brought it up with McConkey in terms of the attitude of Georgia taking this game. Kirby Smart turned to us yesterday. We're sitting with him, and he said, listen, I talk to coaches that are in these bowl games, and they say it's a nightmare for us. The practices, the lead up, the transition, who's here, who's not. He goes, not a nightmare for us. We've had excellent practice, excellent culture attached to this.
But he told Katie at the start of this game, the players in the locker room in Georgia love each other.
Yes.
They care about each other, and they want to be out on the field enjoying this experience. It's being unselfish. It's winning this game to send the seniors off with their 50th win, but getting an opportunity to play in one of the most historic college football games that there is here in the Orange Bowl. And you can see they're not sleepwalking. It's not like they told Coach, yeah, I'm going to go play, but I'm just not going to go 100% so I don't get hurt and help my draft stock. I mean, they're out here, they're flying around, having fun, giving great effort.
By the way, we just had our first penalty of the game, 5-yard offside, so Florida State is moved up there as Douglas is now in the Wildcat. He's going to give it a go and able to read that block well, Ja'Kai Douglas, and he gets free just short of midfield, rolling his way onto that Orange Bowl logo.
Well, they're pulling the backside guard and tackle. We talked about how good the Wildcat was for them in the ACC championship game, and Ja'Kai Douglas, normally a receiver, but started his career at Florida State as a running back, shows you that burst, able to get into the second level, easily the best run play so far for the Noles.
23 yards for Douglas. So shift the 3 tight ends. Whole lot of beef out there in this Wildcat formation with the extra blocker. Douglas in the midst of traffic and is able to catch a seam again as he crosses midfield to the 45.
Well, it's going to be a flag on the play. You know, when you go Wildcat like that, puts the defense in conflict.
Sideline warning, Georgia bench. There was no yards associated with the warning.
You know, you're getting a hat on a hat every time you run the Wildcat. It makes the fits for Georgia's defense a little bit trickier, and Douglas has been able to skirt through some really small holes and find some nice plays. Joe, I know the score's kind of getting away from us here a little bit, but I'm impressed with the Noles offense competing the last 2 drives. Portier making the comeback catch, then the post. Now the Wildcat here. These guys are out playing hard.
Second and 2, Douglas. He's taken down at the line of scrimmage by C.J. Allen, who's stepped up in the course of the past month. Dumas Johnson is out. C.J., the true freshman, has been put in a spot to call the defensive plays.
And it's amazing because Dumas Johnson was an All-American a year ago and a Buckets Award finalist, and he gets hurt. C.J. Allen steps in his first start against Ole Miss and has 9 tackles and a sack. And he's just never looked back. And now with Dumas Johnson transferring out, going to Kentucky, it's going to be 33's show defensively.
Brock Glenn trots back out there on 3rd and 2, and now he's under center as he's going to sprint right. And he threw it right to Holmes, who was able to make that catch for a first down.
Not an easy play.
Well, look at the spot.
Yeah, not an easy play by Glenn that time, having to navigate Kamari Lassiter coming in and threw this a little bit behind Holmes, who had to reach back and take a look at the spot. This is right on the line for the first down marker.
Let's see if the spot is on it.
It's where is the ball when he goes out of bounds? Looks a little bit short.
Now that mark is even a yard behind what that camera showed there, so it's 4th down and 1. And Florida State will use their second timeout. We will take that break with them. 4th and 1 as it's spotted right now on a beautiful afternoon here in Miami. Look at this sun-kissed afternoon in South Florida as aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. Road tested and game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Georgia fans in that Taco Bell section.
I love those giant hats, by the way.
Aren't they great? We got to get one for you, Chris.
And you. You'd be rocking
it's like a golden bachelor giant hat.
And you'd have the gold chain.
Oh, yeah. 4th down and 1. And go with Williamson, who reaches out And is able to move the chains. Jalen Walker with the tackle.
That was a really nice job. And Jackson West was playing tight end. He had a reach block outside that he was able to get in the pin as well. Make that play go. I think a lot of people on defense, they're expecting the ball to go in between the tackles. A nice play call by Mike Norvell there, going jet sweep.
Glenn on first down with time. Batted right in his face.
Well, that was a big play defensively to knock that one down by Williams, because I think Brock Glenn had Kyle Morlock at tight end open on a wheel route here. He's going to be up top. He's going to work all the way, and then he's going to come up the field. And I think there was an opportunity for a throw if Williams doesn't knock this thing down. He's faking the deep cross right there. I think there was a chance for an explosive. But give Georgia credit. Mykel Williams so long and using that length and those arms to his advantage there.
6'5", fighting his way through two blockers. Back to Douglas on the direct snap. As Douglas wiggles his way upfield, saw an offensive lineman lose his helmet. That was big Casey Roddick, the left guard.
Yeah, the Colorado transfer came around pulling, and it was Mykel Williams that used that right shoulder, and he just stuck him. He's going to have to come out of play. There's some physical action going on up front. Watch this. Mykel Williams has to crash this. That's shoulder pad right under the chin.
So you say you want to play college football.
It's so much better being up here in the show. Calling this stuff with you. I don't know what I was thinking back in the day.
Douglas motions back in on 3rd and 6. Brock Glenn, freshman quarterback. Single coverage to the outside as he basket tosses it for Destin Hill, but it's incomplete, out of bounds. Bullard had coverage.
Amazing coverage by Bullard there. You know, you're lucky if you have one safety on defense that can run, tackle, and play man coverage. Georgia's got 3. It's not just Bullard, it's Tyke Smith and Malachi Starks as well, but the ability to do that right there, it's going to help you get drafted on Sunday. 4th down now, 4th and 6. Obviously down 28-3, no question mark to go for this.
The previous play is under further video review.
We're going to take a look at that effort by Destin Hill on that deep ball. The play is officially under review. Remember, it was ruled incomplete. You be the judge.
Had to be thrown on the outside, put perfectly by Glenn. He looks like he's got the left foot down. The question is, did he have possession and complete control of the football when that left foot was still down, because it's inbounds. Right there. Bullard gets his hand in on it. The left foot comes off the ground really quickly, and you're going to be looking there, Joe, to see if the ball is moving at all. So when he's going to the ground, track the ball here. There's a little bit of wiggle, it looks like. I think that's going to be incomplete.
Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin, and get his judgment.
Yeah, Joe, I think Jesse explained it perfectly. He did get his foot down with the ball originally, but as he rolled out of bounds, you could see the ball come loose underneath his body, and this should be confirmed as an incomplete pass.
Regardless of whether this is complete or incomplete, how about the throw by Brock Glenn, by the way?
Yes, which, to your point that you made earlier, some of the completions he had in this first half is going to get confidence going with the young man.
You can see it now, too, in his willingness to take shots, and it's not just his confidence, but he's proving to Mike Norvell, hey, let me throw it downfield, because I'm making the right decisions, and the ball placement has been tremendous. I mean, that's a perfect throw there to Destin Hill. It's a very, very difficult catch against one of the best DBs in all of college football, in Javon Bullard.
And the ACC championship game was a far different task for Brock Glenn. He was tasked with manage that game, don't turn the ball over, let this exceptional defense win the ACC championship, and they did.
And that was the right approach if you're Mike Norvell in that game, because you're just trying to win the conference and put yourself in position to get in the college football playoff. But I think in this game now, especially with the score what it is, listen, Brock Glenn, he might be the future at quarterback for this offense. So you got to let him play.
After review, the ball hit the ground as the player was trying to possess it. It was an incomplete pass. The ruling is confirmed.
We will have that conversation conversation at some point today about the future of quarterback at Florida State, because there have been constant reports of Florida State pursuing quarterbacks in the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's something he's obviously very aware of too, which is why this game for him is a big audition. He's heard about Cam Ward for Washington State, DJ Uiagalelei at Oregon State. It's all over the message boards. It's all over social media. So a lot of motivation for Brock Glenn to want to play well here. And here's a massive 4th down. These windows he's throwing into have been really tiny. He's got a lot of size at wide receiver. Can somebody make a contested catch?
They converted a 4th and short earlier. Now a 4th and 6 for Glenn. There's the freshman on 4th down. Gets it out quickly, and it's incomplete as Williamson was trying to come back for the ball.
You know, and it's too bad because Isaiah Holmes, the Penn State transfer running back, did a great job picking up the blitz and giving Brock Glenn an opportunity to get this ball out. He's going to come over here and stone this. And that just gives number 11 enough time to get this thing out. There's twists, there's stunts up front. That's just a catch you've got to make. Again, contested. And for Williamson, you got to come back. You got to drive on the ball. C.J. Allen at linebacker does a nice job breaking on it, but it's just the type of catch you got to make against this defense that's been really spectacular all season.
Kendall Milton in the backfield. 3 touchdowns in the last 7 offensive plays for Georgia. And they're going to pop pass this to Bell, and Dylan Bell turns the corner out past the 40-yard line.
He's a fun athlete to watch, too. Yeah, they had some injury problems at running back early in the year. So the second game against Ball State, they put Dylan Bell at running back, and the very first time he touched it on a handoff, he took it to the crib. He's a guy that can play receiver. They just try to get him touches and get him involved any way they can.
Threw a touchdown pass against Tennessee. It also is a returner. This guy is punt, pass, and kick to the max. 2nd and 7. Milton, look at this hole as Kendall Milton is out past midfield, and Kendall Milton has had a sensational first half. He is over 100 yards on only 8 carries.
Well, we were talking about the run fits, and Florida State right now is just not trusting what they're seeing, and they're just playing a little bit slow with their eyes, and they're slow to react.
Here's Beck on 1st down. Has so much time, he's picking a weapon. A lot of contact downfield as Arian Smith was the target, and Quindarius Jones, the true freshman, was wrapped up with him.
Well, that's the deep threat. When he's in the game, something's up. There's just a lot of contact out there one-on-one.
Defense, number 16, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic. 1st down.
First penalty on Florida State.
Yeah, he basically tackled Arian Smith on this one. You see he's got both arms around him. He doesn't get the head around to locate the football, and that's very easy for the field judge to call that PI. And another example, too, Joe, of Georgia going tempo, right? Yep. Get a big play on offense to come right back to the line of scrimmage, try to get it snapped quickly, and another shot down the field.
Beck's going to go to his tight end, Delp. Delp untouched inside the 20 and down to the 15-yard line.
Well, I like this type play. It's a misdirection. You're just trying to freeze people inside to allow Delp to get to the outside. So the fake handoff here, you're just trying to get him to slow down and then allow Delp to get outside and outflank him. They did this, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times a game with Brock Bowers. And Oscar Delp, again, showing his athleticism. He's going to be a huge weapon for this offense next year.
Milton, as he goes ahead for 3 yards. You know, Oscar Delp, who's going to be the next great tight end, as you mentioned, he was asked about the prep for this game. And he said, we are preparing for this game, this Orange Bowl, exactly the same way we prepared for Ohio State last year.
How about that?
In the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, the buy-in has been sensational.
And the attention to detail and the effort in practice and the preparation. But it's a standard, Joe. It's something that Georgia's built over years now with Kirby Smart.
Split out 2 by 2 as Edwards. They come back with Smith, and Smith is going to trot right in. On the inside wide receiver screen, Arian Smith with the 12-yard touchdown.
Shaheem Brown was playing safety, and he had the unfortunate task of having to take on 2 offensive linemen that got out on the perimeter, and it was rough. It was the left tackle Ernest Green and the center Cedric Van Pran. They got out, and he got baptized.
He had guys looking for work there. Tate Ratledge was downfield saying, "Is there anybody for me to hit?"
This is every safety's worst nightmare, I think. I mean, you're Shaheem Brown, and you're just trying to make a tackle. Look at big 71 and 63. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And it's Georgia and Arian Smith up big.
Well, the Cowboys have been so good at home, and tonight they host the Lions, playoff-bound Lions. 8 o'clock on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2. You see how home sweet home down in Texas. By the way, Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor, and the Monday Night Football crew is going to have
about damn time,
coverage.
Joe.
Yeah, well,
about damn time.
They're going to have live coverage of that.
Yeah, it's a good.
Halftime.
He's won a bunch of games in this game too, right? In this city.
Absolutely.
Championships. Hurricanes head coach.
You know, Jess, Carson Beck told me the biggest reason why he wants to return next season is because he wants to win a national championship as a starting quarterback at the University of Georgia. He said being a part of the 2 national championships has been incredible, but he was a backup supporting his teammates on the sidelines. He said, I want to win my own, and I know it's a lofty goal, but I'm on a mission, and that mission starts today with our performance here in the Orange Bowl. So far, so good, guys.
Yeah, it's so great, too, Katie, when you have team motivation to want to win a championship, but personal motivation, too, because that guy right there is going to be in the running to be the first quarterback taken in the 2025 NFL draft.
Wildcat again for the Noles with Douglas. You know, Beck grew up in Jacksonville. He was a Florida Gators fan, Jesse, and committed to play baseball in Gainesville, and then, of course, becomes a football star. Sees where things are headed, and here he is, a star for Georgia.
Gator fans everywhere now, just wincing.
Yep.
Hearing you say that. But you can see why fans in Athens, man, are so excited he's coming back next year because, you know, they were already going to be a team in the running regardless. With that guy, though, it's a bit of a different story. The ceiling is just so much higher.
Brock Glenn. Pressure coming straight at him on 2nd and 6. He escapes it, extends the play, and is able to get it to Hakeem Williams, who's got big upside, the star freshman for Florida State, getting an opportunity here today.
Yeah, the timing was taken away on that. Good job covering in the back end. C.J. Allen at linebacker is just kind of pausing and waiting, and when he sees him hesitate, he shoots the gap, and that forces him to get to the outside. But a nice job extending the play by Glenn, and nice fundamentals getting the left shoulder turned to make that an accurate throw.
Williams, who grew up nearby in Fort Lauderdale, one of the biggest prospects to come out of this area in many years. Holmes is going to take it ahead, try to fight for extra yardage.
I mean it, Joe. Like watching Brock Glenn, if you're Mike Norvell now, I mean, just seeing the confidence and seeing the playmaking of Brock Glenn in this game, he's giving himself an opportunity. Regardless if they get a portal quarterback and regardless of if there is a competition or not, giving himself a chance to be the guy. This is a huge stage and a huge audition for him, and I've been impressed with the young true freshman.
2nd and 3, play action. Glenn going downfield again inside the 10, just in front of Destin Hill, but he is willing. Brock Glenn is willing to take shots today, as he should be.
Well, he's feeling it, and he's giving these guys a shot, but I think what you're also seeing, Joe, and I know they didn't complete that, but Florida State's got guys that can get behind Georgia's DBs, and there aren't a lot of receivers out there that can say that. Now, he had a deep cross from Spann on the inside that was open he could have taken. He instead decided to post to the outside. Look at the speed by Destin Hill, who almost had that great catch on the sideline last drive. I mean, like, we're not just saying Florida State's got young talent. They really do. Destin Hill also only a true freshman receiver.
There's a timeout used by Florida State. There was a little confusion as they were lining up for this 3rd and 4. Man in motion, in fact, came in and knocked Brock Glenn nearly over. So they used the timeout. That is their last timeout of this first half. I ask you to stay tuned for the Mercedes-Benz halftime report from Pasadena. It was a rainy day out there with Reese.
It never happens.
Reese and Joey and Desmond Howard will be with you as the Lane train rolls on. Ole Miss looked great today. And Walk the Moon performs live as they will set the table for the college football playoff national semis. What a beautiful afternoon here.
Don't you love living here in South Florida?
We shouldn't be those guys right now. People are watching. The two guys who live in South Florida shouldn't be those guys right now.
This time of year around New Year's, this is why you moved to South Florida.
Trust me, everybody in the Northeast, in the Central, in the Midwest is saying, please don't be that annoying.
All of our old neighbors and family and friends.
I'm saying that right now, guys.
That's it. Our friend from Louisville. Here's 3rd and 4, and look at Brock Glenn as the extra effort diving ahead as Walker was chasing him, and Brock Glenn is able to get the first down.
And great decision making that time by Glenn, because he's looking this way, he's going to scan that way, nothing open, and puts his foot in the ground and just is decisive. He's just going to get north, use that athleticism, and move the sticks.
First 3rd down converted for Florida State today. They're 1 of 7. Glenn, another deep shot, a little bit of a push off that time from Hakeem Williams, goes far incomplete.
And I think that just shows that the limited reps that maybe Glenn has had with some of his wide receivers. Hakeem Williams, a true freshman, that was well covered down the field, and that's probably one they'd like to work the back shoulder against the true freshman corner in Daniel Harris. Something that Jordan Travis obviously had a chance to do time and time again throughout his career. But the more reps number 11 gets with these young, talented, true freshman wide receivers, man, this passing attack, I'm telling you, it's got a chance to look real good next year.
Glenn, as he sidearms it, but just too high for a wide open Darian Williamson.
Well, a great job escaping the pressure. Just need a little better accuracy on that throw and bring it down to Williamson, because that would have been a big one. I think his feel in the pocket is getting better. We saw him take off on 3rd down a few plays ago. That's just one you just got to keep your composure. Make sure you're on balance. Oh, he knows he missed a big one there.
Robert Scott, excellent offensive lineman for Florida State, a 3-year starter, is down in pain. He has missed numerous games and has only had 125 snaps in the regular season. Missed the better part of the last chunk of the season. You see Darius Washington, the first team All-ACC teammate, heading out there.
Well, I mean, that's really been a big story for this team this year, is the injuries up front. They've had a lot of guys that have had to be very versatile and move around and play different spots. 5 different starting lineups for Florida State as an offensive line this year. And I know, when you talk about a 13-0 season and winning the ACC championship, you point to Jordan Travis, as you should, and you point to the defense and how good they've been this year, as you should. But I think the offensive line also deserves a lot of credit for how good they've been this year.
I want to get back to the conversation on Brock Glenn, the true freshman quarterback who we saw in the ACC championship game, and we're seeing a better version of today with all the reps that he's gotten to this. People forget he was a big recruit.
Yeah.
He was a 4-star recruit. He was an Elite 11 guy. He was originally committed to Ohio State before he flips to Florida State. It's not like we're talking about some guy that didn't have great upside all the way along.
And there's this mindset too, Joe, that as a true freshman, when you get to a bowl game, you're not a true freshman anymore. You've had enough practices throughout the year. You've gotten enough reps. You've watched Jordan Travis enough. You've watched enough film. And this is the time of year that you're expected to turn the page, step up. And I think you've seen that from a lot of true freshmen for Florida State, but in particular, Brock Glenn.
That sunset crests over Southwest Florida. We're here in Miami Gardens. 3rd down and 10. Glenn. And this time he does get it complete to Williamson, who marches upfield for extra yardage.
Yeah, there's a nice job that time by Williamson, working kind of the corner route. They clear it out on the outside. It opens up the space, but a nice throw and rhythm here by Glenn. Nice job in the pre-snap reading coverage, so he's got an idea of where he's going with the football. And right now, Joe, he is stroking the football.
16 yards to Williamson there. Back shoulder is incomplete. He was looking for Williams.
See, and a couple plays ago, they had the go route, and they didn't have the back shoulder throw. This time, it's the same two guys, and Brock Glenn's thinking that. Hakeem Williams is not, though. He's trying to beat his corner, Daniel Harris, over top. That's twice in this game that Brock Glenn has thrown a back shoulder that I think should have been caught and completed. Not just good decisions with respect to reading coverage, but good location on the throw, too.
He's 7 of 19 for 111 yards in the ACC championship game against Louisville, a win in a conference championship. He was 8 of 21 for only 55 yards and was sacked 4 times. They leaned on that Wildcat in that game. Here they go empty on 2nd and 10 as the young man is growing in confidence. 4-man rush. Batted. He had traffic in his face, and it was Warren Brinson, the very athletic big man who goes 6'4".
Yeah, he basically walked Keandre Jones at right guard back into the pocket. When he noticed he wasn't going to be able to get there, he did a good job of seeing the quarterback and getting his hands up. Look at just in that A gap to the right side right here, swatting it down. This is a big drive and a big moment, too. Georgia's going to get the football first in the second half. It would be huge for Florida State if they were able to find a way to generate some points and just try to generate any momentum they can going in at halftime.
It's their longest drive of the day, their 11th play, 3rd and 10. Oh, he's sacked and stripped. And Williams picks it up. A penalty marker is down as they just caved in on Brock Glenn and got the ball.
Well, Mykel Williams wrapped all the way around from the left side of the formation. He beat Keandre Jones at right guard and laid a massive, massive hit on Glenn.
Personal foul, illegal low block, offense number 26. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Strip sack and recovery.
You got to have your head on a swivel as an offensive lineman on 3rd down, specifically when you're playing against Georgia, because they show so many different looks. Here's Williams here. He's going to wrap all the way around the right guard, and he kind of gets stuck inside, and he's too late by the time he finally sees it. There's the stunt inside. He just can't wrap around, and there's the hit. Oh, Brock Glenn doesn't have 2 hands on the football, and he gets the trifecta. Patrick Payton had a chance early in the game. Sack, forced fumble, fumble recovery. He might have been thinking scoop score.
Kirby Smart absolutely loves Williams. He says he's everything you expect him to be. He's tough, he's physical, can handle the coaching, as talented as they have. Beck with traffic, and that ball nearly intercepted. Conrad Hussey, the true freshman, was breaking on it.
Yeah, well, that time finally they were able to get some pressure on Carson Beck. He was forced to step up into the pocket. He wasn't able to get his feet set underneath him. And this is, to me, the one area on film I've seen from Carson Beck that he can improve on. When he's in rhythm, he looks fantastic. But if you can get him to move and you can force him to have to shuffle up a little bit, that's when the accuracy comes down. And Mike Norvell knows they missed a big opportunity for a turnover there.
Back on 2nd down. As Bell fights for it and gets it. Another great play by Dylan Bell.
Well, he just climbed the ladder and completely just took this football away from Quindarius Jones, the true freshman. Up and over. Jones tries to get the head turned around to swat it away. But there's Carson Beck just giving his guy an opportunity, and they've gone down the field to that left side a couple times now with success. And it just takes a couple of plays, Joe, and already Georgia knocking on the door again.
Bell has 84 yards receiving on just 4 catches. That went for 35. Beck with the fade. A lot of contact, and the flag is going to come out with Greedy Vance hooked up against Anthony Evans.
Florida State continues to play man coverage like they do, and Carson Beck is taking shots.
Pass interference. Defense, number 21. The foul occurred in the end zone by rule. It would be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
It's pretty amazing, Joe. We talk about complimentary football, and Mykel Williams gets the sack, forced fumble. By the way, only the second fumble recovery on the year for Georgia.
Isn't that something?
It's incredible for a team that was number one team in the country. And they were -1 in turnover margin coming into this thing. And right away, Carson Beck starts paying it off with some shots down the field. First to Bell, now the PI, and they're looking to add 7 points more.
Sprint right for Beck. To the end zone he goes, and he's able to find Lovett for the score.
Well, it's been a tough last couple of plays for Grady Vance. He had the PI a moment ago, and now in the slot. This is a play that everybody on offense has. Just a roll out to the right. It's a timing throw. You're throwing it in rhythm. And it's Georgia, Joe. 41-3 right now. 24 seconds to go in the half.
Listen, everybody knew the limitations of this Florida State roster with the opt-outs and the transfer portal and the circumstances of the last 3 weeks. But what people may not have picked up on is how locked in the Dogs were every step of the way. How much they said this meant to them to finish on their terms.
They got a big win in the transfer portal this offseason, bringing in Lovett at wide receiver in from Missouri. And his route running really has been tremendous. And this is an area of the field that Brock Bowers has always been a big factor, but how good is it when you've got another guy in the slot like Lovett who can use his quickness and speed and be a force too.
That's 2 touchdown passes for Carson Beck. And the big plays, the quick strikes, the quick drives. Georgia has 42 points, Jesse, and their longest scoring drive is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. They just went 3 plays and 51 yards in 18 seconds.
I mean, it's undeniable when you're just looking at the talent Georgia has. And that's why, as a team, they believe they're one of the 4 best teams and they should have got in. You can't say that from an eye test standpoint, Georgia isn't one of the 4 best. No, you can't argue that at all. And you see it at every level, both on offense, defense, and in special teams. They've made plays here tonight, too.
They have 14 plays of 15 yards or more. Verbo Fiesta Bowl is coming your way New Year's Day, 1 o'clock on ESPN. Chance to see those Ducks. Number 23 Liberty making their way to the Fiesta Bowl. The group of 5 taking on number 8 Oregon.
If you haven't watched Caden Salter, quarterback for Liberty, you want to check him out. He's so good throwing the ball and running the football too. He's an outstanding dual threat weapon that has been massive this season for one of the best offenses in all of college football. And I think a team that probably a lot of people haven't seen play yet. Look at that, 41 points a game. Salter a big part of that. And how about Bo Nix deciding to play in this one too? He has an opportunity, Joe, to pass Timmy Chang as the FBS's 2nd all-time leading passer.
Wow, what a career. Glenn incomplete. He's trying to connect with Destin Hill. The lesson that was learned in the ACC championship game for Brock Glenn. He said more games are lost than are won. Didn't turn the ball over, manage things, slowed down a bit, let the defense do their job, let the running game do the job there. And that got them the ACC championship and a 13-0 mark. This a bigger mountain to climb with the circumstances with the depth chart, but he's looking better and more in control as Holmes takes it ahead, spins his way towards that line to gain in these closing seconds of this first half.
You know, Mike Norvell here using this as a coaching moment, going tempo here, running a 2-minute type situation with his young players on the field.
Experience, giving it to the young guys. Final play of this first half as it is intercepted. Malachi Starks, the first team All-America, with the pickoff of Brock Glenn. He was trying to hit Morlock, the big tight end, but Starks was hanging out and hauls it in.
It's a good back shoulder throw again by Glenn. This time looking for his tight end. This is a catch he's got to make, putting it where only his guy can do it, but he pops it up in the air. You know what they say, Joe? You throw it over the middle of the field. Tips lead to picks. Malachi Starks, one of the most dangerous free safeties in college football.
First interception in the career of Brock Glenn. Let's go to Katie.
Thanks, Tess. Coach Smart, that was a dominant first half. Let's start with your defense. How have they been able to be so disruptive through 2?
They've worked really hard this year, getting better in the red area. I thought we had a big red area stop there that stopped the momentum. Really proud of the way the offense came out and played both sides of the ball.
What's impressed you about the balance you've seen from the offense so far?
Well, we've been able to run the ball. They've been running the ball up inside really well. Kendall and Dejan have done a great job. Really physical offensive line allows you to do that.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
He mentions the running backs. Milton has 104 yards. Edwards 59 yards rushing. The most points Georgia has in any half this season, 42-3. The largest halftime lead in history. It is all Dogs, the way Kirby intended it to be. As we get you to the studio for the Mercedes-Benz halftime report after these messages. We welcome you back to the Capital One Orange Bowl. Georgia leading 42-3. Carson Beck with a couple of touchdown passes. The running game has been cranking it out with over 200 yards rushing against this undermanned Florida State team. But this razor-sharp, focused Georgia team with a program that said, we're playing to our standard today. Do you think they just keep it going here and try to throttle them?
I mean, I got to think if I'm Kirby Smart at some point here, up 42-3 in the second half, you also have an opportunity now to develop some of your less experienced guys to spin it ahead and turn the page towards 2024. But, you know, that is a real mentality that you're talking about, Joe, about always hunting, right? We're not the hunted. We are going out and hunting. And so, man, your guess is as good as mine. It's a bowl game.
I don't know. Hanging out with them this week, they have been talking about it all week long, about that attitude. The Capital One rewarding performances, the running game with Kendall Milton, Dejan Edwards. It's been nonstop, Jesse.
Yeah, it's really been impressive just to see how physical Georgia's been up front, getting a lot of movement. And look, we knew coming into this game, Florida State and their front seven had a lot of inexperience, and the fits just haven't been there. Guys have been getting out of position, and it's been Milton, it's been Edwards, even Ladd McConkey on a crazy trick play right here, just weaving back all the way across the field, making good players miss and scoring. I mean, everything has gone the Bulldogs' way, offensively, defensively, special teams. That's why the score is what it is.
Gunnar Stockton in at quarterback to start this second half, and he will run the ball to get things going. The redshirt freshman, who was 6 of 9 passing for 52 yards on the season, his limiting time.
So Carson Beck's looked really good in the first half, but you know, you might need Gunnar Stockton next year too, so now they're giving him an opportunity. Extremely talented. But I think what's important to note here is he's out there with the starting offense. Everybody around him is a starter, and he's getting a chance to run Mike Bobo's offense and use this opportunity to develop.
It's a 4-star prospect according to ESPN.com. Edwards on 2nd and 3. It'll be 3rd and a long one, tackled by Kalen DeLoach.
And I know it's gotten crazy on the scoreboard here, but if you're Mike Norvell too in Florida State, you're watching how your team competes here in the second half, how much effort your guys are playing with. You're looking at the stat sheet at the end of this game, but you're also going to be looking at body language and communication throughout the course of the second half too, to find out and identify which guys do you want to go to war with in 2024.
Third and 2. Stockton going to cut back against the grain and showing you what he can do with his legs. DeLoach makes the tackle again, but it's a first down for Georgia.
Yeah, and that was sort of a pass run option for Stockton. I think he should have thrown that to Edwards. It looked like he had him here out in the flat right away, but he decided he didn't want it. And Peyton kind of got too far uphill. He slips, puts his foot in the ground. He's able to keep the chains moving.
So Stockton, an interesting situation developed in recent weeks, as Brock Vandegrift was the number 2 behind, of course, the star quarterback Carson Beck. And then Brock entered the transfer portal. He's going to be playing in the SEC for Kentucky next year. Stockton on first down, as he gets it to Edwards this time, and Edwards already past midfield and still going down, breaking through weak arm tackles as he continues downfield. Finally, Hussey, the true freshman safety, makes the tackle.
That was a pretty athletic throw there by Stockton that time, because he's got Patrick Payton and his long arms right in front of him. Kind of a jump pass. And it's not the most accurate throw. Really nice catch by Edwards, and he's able to turn that thing north, but you're already seeing the athleticism of Stockton here on this first drive of the second half.
28 yards from Edwards. Gets it out quickly to Bell. And Bell muscles ahead for 3 yards before he is spun down by Byron Turner. But getting back to the conversation about Brock Vandegrift, so Stockton elevates to number 2.
Yep.
And he's a natural leader type, and he's bought into the master plan of, hey, let me stick around, see what happens with Carson Beck and how things play out. Possibly could take the reins in 2025.
There's the thing, too. Remember, Dominic Raiola, the #1 quarterback in high school, was committed, or they thought was coming to Georgia, and he flipped last second to Nebraska. So, and just with that alone, Stockton could find himself in a position next year if something were to happen to Beck. They need him.
Stockton, high but caught. Rosemead Jack Saint at 6'2".
Man, Stockton,
makes the catch there.
Yeah, very lucky on this slant throw because Shaheem Brown should have picked this thing off. That ball was thrown high. Brown didn't locate it. It goes just over top and sails over Brown's hands. And how about the catch radius from Rosemead Jackson, who played his high school football just down the street at St. Thomas Aquinas.
That's a powerhouse program here in South Florida. Ash Jones catches a seam, and Jones is down to the 7-yard line.
They've got so many good running backs. It's really an embarrassment of riches for them because it's not just Milton and it's not just Edwards, but Roderick Robinson and Andrew Paul, young guys, and Cash Jones, who's sort of a change of pace guy, a little smaller, really good in the pass game. Of course, forced a fumble on a kickoff in the first half of this game, too. They've just recruited so much ability at these skill positions.
Jones remains in, gets the work here, patiently looks for a block, reaches ahead. It'll be 3rd and short. He's 6 foot, about 180 pounds, but anybody in the program will tell you he's one of the fastest and pound-for-pound strongest players on the team.
And he's a guy who's extremely versatile as well. As you see, Kendall Milton has already done a lot of good work. Kirby Smart's got to be happy with how they've been able to run the football. This has been a good opening drive with Gunnar Stockton at the helm here with the first-team offense.
Saw Kendall Milton looking on. 9 rushes for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns for Milton today. 3rd down and 1. Jones. It's going to be 1st and goal as Georgia looks to add to their monstrous lead.
Well, the tempo has changed certainly for Mike Bobo here. He's got his offense huddling, taking their time a little bit. They've got obviously a huge lead here in the second half, so you're just going to milk it. Big substitution. It looks like Dejon Edwards is coming back in now, and some big bodies as well. Some extra beef coming in, Joe, on the offensive line.
See big Micah Morris, the 6'6", 330-pounder who is often lined up in the backfield in their goal line personnel looks, and you will see him there as the fullback in the I formation. Edwards right behind Micah Morris. You got the road grader paving the way, and Dejon Edwards has his 2nd touchdown of the day.
Morris gets the big lead block at fullback. The guy I've been impressed with blocking in this game has been Oscar Delp, Joe. We've seen him a couple times. That time working against Gilbert Edmond, the transfer from South Carolina. He's able to pin that inside. We've seen Oscar Delp make some plays catching the ball in this one, but it's been really good in line at the point of attack.
That's a very good sign for Georgia's future if Oscar Delp keeps on blossoming into that role that Brock Bowers played. Do it all tight end. They got Lawson Lucky, who's an outstanding looking freshman, as well as Woodring adds the extra point, and Georgia adds to their lead. They take the second half kickoff. They drive 10 plays, and it's 49-3 in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
The Capital One Orange Bowl is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And Gatorade. Gatorade is helping millions play. Gatorade, fuel tomorrow.
The Georgia players loving South Beach this week as part of the Capital One Orange Bowl. You get your bowl assignment and you land the Orange Bowl. You got a big smile on your face.
How great is that? The weather and all the festivities.
That's like a block away from your house, right?
It is. I know. They did a good job keeping the noise down for me late there. But the coaches were saying they also got to eat at Joe's Stone Crab this week. I know you're a big Joe's guy.
I am.
You're a colossal claw guy, though.
Very much.
Big money. Big money.
Hey guys, I spoke to Mike Norvell coming out of the locker room, and as you can imagine, he said he can't focus on the score at this point. He said we've made mistakes, we've had our challenges, but he urges players to play with technique, to trust each other, and to get better these next 30 minutes. He said just go out there and compete, and then he also said Brock Glenn is coming along. He's growing in confidence with every play. You can see it, but he said we have to make plays around him here in the second half.
I agree, Katie. The stat line may not say that, but you can see it. I mean, we call the ACC championship game. He's a different guy now. The true freshman starting quarterback. Give it to Holmes. Isaiah Holmes out to the 28.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with that assessment more, Joe, what you said about Brock Glenn. Because if you just looked at the stats, you'd say, well, he's not really playing that great. But his decision-making has been outstanding. Ball location in this game has been outstanding. He's had a lot of drops vertically down the field. He's done a good job of extending plays, taking off running as well. And you're absolutely right. You can see his confidence just continuing to get bigger and bigger.
Glenn on 2nd and 7. This time he is taken down as it was Chambliss who got to him. It looked like he may have gotten a face mask as well.
Yeah.
Chaz Chambliss, really the workhorse among the linebacker core.
And a guy that's got tremendous football IQ, too.
Personal foul, grasping and twisting the face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, he's working against Jeremiah Byers at right tackle, getting upfield, stops his rush, and just kind of reaches that right paw out and gets Brock Glenn right in the face. He didn't get his eyes poked out there. But it moves the chains, and an opportunity for this drive to keep going, and for these young players of Florida State to keep gaining experience. Not a lot has gone wrong for Georgia.
No,
in this game.
That's only the second penalty.
I know, only 2. I mean, they've literally have checked every single box for Kirby Smart. Every major statistic you look at, they've been tremendous.
Holmes again as he falls forward.
I like it.
Able to get through the tackle of Dan Jackson.
And that last run play is the bread and butter run play that Florida State runs. You pull the backside guard and tackle, and it's an attitude run downhill. And that's good physical running between the tackles for Keziah Holmes. I mean, you've got 2 running backs opting out to get ready for the NFL draft. You've got 2 running backs that go into the portal. So these other guys are getting a chance, and Keziah Holmes trying to make the most of his opportunity.
Holmes on 2nd and 6 as he is dragged down that time by Nazir Stackhouse.
Well, and just that right there, it seems minimal, but Brock Glenn communicating at the line of scrimmage and potentially changing a Mike linebacker identification is a big step for him. I mean, against Louisville, they were literally trying to call plays that he would just leave on, regardless what the front was, what the personnel was, what the coverage was, so we could play fast and not overthink. But you're seeing Brock Glenn start processing things a little bit better, not just in the pass game, but right there in the run game, too.
3rd and 5. They bring pressure against him. Ball is floated up as a penalty marker comes down. That was C.J. Allen crashing in on Brock Glenn.
That's an example, Joe, of a play where the clock's just got to go a little quicker for Brock Glenn.
Holding. Offense number 53. That penalty's declined. Result of play is 4th down.
So you just sort of got to know in this protection scheme, you're going to get heat. The center's working this way. He's covered. He's covered. If this guy blitzes, the ball's got to come out. And that time he had the right idea, throwing the fade or the go route to the right, but it's just got to be a little bit quicker. And Jordan Travis, you know, you got to think if he's out on the field, that's obviously something probably he sees. But again, these are all coaching moments for a young quarterback.
Mastrobano, his first punt since late in the first quarter. Fair catch inside the 10. That Georgia offense that hasn't stopped all day, back out there, 49-3 when we return. You think about what Mike Norvell has been on with this journey. Of course, COVID year 3-6, and then that 2021 season, the heartbreak. Remember that Sunday night loss to Notre Dame, and they go 0-4, and they lose to Jacksonville State. Yet people stayed the course. It paid off week 1 in 2022 with the win against LSU, and then the momentum carries, the recruiting carries. Undefeated, ACC champion.
Yeah, Joe, you keep developing your talent and you recruit and you bring in guys from the portal, and Mike Norvell never flinched, never lost confidence in sight of the vision he had for this program. And it's 16 juniors and seniors start. I mean, everybody was 16 starters coming back. Everybody was a junior and senior. So this year they took the next step in the natural progression. They fought through adversity. They had some incredible comeback wins, some big moments, and obviously well-documented key injuries at key positions throughout the course of the year. But all they did was find ways to win games. And the scoreboard here, and whatever the result of this game is, it does not taint at all what Mike Norvell and the special season that the Noles have had this year.
Unique circumstances, obviously, today with the depleted roster he's dealing with. Stockton still in at quarterback, Robinson at running back, so some of the reserves coming in as that goes incomplete to Dylan Bell. Of course, we got a big night ahead. Dak Prescott has arrived. Lions and Cowboys coming up, a special edition of Monday Night Football on ESPN and ABC.
Different team when they're playing at home, won 15 in a row. Obviously, Dak Prescott a big part of that. And I'll tell you, the job Dan Campbell has done, my former teammate with the New York Giants, just the physical and the mental toughness that he's instilled.
That's his personality, right?
Detroit, it really is. I mean, they embody their head coach.
Robinson on the carry, gives a stiff arm, and at 240 pounds, gives out some pain as well to Greedy Vance, the big running back.
He's only a true freshman. They're not supposed to look like that. At 240 pounds, and look at him using the stiff arm here against a fellow freshman and Omar Graham, a linebacker, not able to bring him down, and he is just trucking. We talked about the talent these guys have at the running back spot, and it is impressive. It runs deep. That was Gilbert Edmond, by the way. He just stiff-armed a deep line.
Stockton on first down. A lot of time to think about it as he drives the ball short in the direction of Anthony Evans, another good-looking true freshman for Georgia.
Well, you talk about the recruiting classes, and it's pretty well documented. They have the #1 recruiting class according to the ESPN 300 this past offseason. Isn't it amazing? We talked about losing Dominic Raiola to Nebraska.
Yep.
A lot of programs, like the sky would be falling. Kirby Smart, they're like, nah, but we got the #1 corner and the #1 safety and the #1 outside linebacker. And
My man Ellis Robinson from New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah,
the guy's growing up eating Pepe's Pizza, and he's the #1 recruit in the
neighbor.
country.
I know, and so to them, it's like the rich just keep getting richer.
There's a second down run from Robinson. Breaks another tackle and goes ahead for 11 yards. A battering ram of a freshman running back, big number 0.
Well, you got a true freshman, and he's running behind a true freshman right tackle now. Monroe Freeling is in, working into the second level and getting a block on Kalen DeLoach. And all these young guys, man, these are big reps. And we talked about this. You're no longer a true freshman at this point of the season. There you see Freeling, very talented, 6'7", 310 pounds, working his way into the rotation.
Stockton, just a pitch and catch to Spurlin, and Spurlin is long striding down the sideline. And Jess, you sit here, 5.5 minutes to go in the third. You look up at a scoreboard. I mean, is this going to stop?
Listen, I want to be clear about this. This is not Georgia necessarily running the score up. They're running their offense.
Yes.
To me, you should do that. When your backups are in the game, you let them run your stuff. They're huddling. They're taking time off the clock. I played for a guy in Steve Spurrier that let us quarterbacks throw the ball late in the fourth quarter when we were up on Central Michigan by 80 points. That's why you come to Georgia, to run these plays. You got to give your guys an opportunity and develop them.
31 more yards. Robinson back to work. So Georgia has only faced third down 4 times today, and they converted 3 of them.
Well, it's nice to have a 240-pound running back, right?
Isn't it?
Yeah. Just downhill, up front, physical, and this is the identity, obviously, that Kirby Smart wants to have for this offense, really regardless of who's playing quarterback. Games are won and lost in the trenches, and for years now, Georgia's ability to dominate on both sides of the line of scrimmage, that's been demonstrated.
Carson Beck played the first half, 13 completions, 2 touchdowns, went for over 200 yards. Been seeing Gunnar Stockton here in this second half. 2nd and 7. Stockton feeling pressure, but escapes it. Gives a stiff arm, and it'll be 3rd and short, but you get a look at the athleticism of the redshirt freshman backup quarterback.
That was incredible. He was trying to throw a slant out to the left and trying to get it into a second window, but it was Darrell Jackson, number 14 from Florida State. He just walks Micah Morris back into the pocket and really nimble. Gunnar Stockton getting out of trouble and getting upfield.
Daniel Lyons slow to get up. Medical staff out to see him. We will take a short break. Here at the Capital One Orange Bowl.
There's one thing that never changes.
Georgia.
The anticipation.
Georgia. The whole day through.
Isn't that fitting? Those lyrics says it is Georgia who is dominating today, 49-3. So they've had the backup quarterback Gunnar Stockton in his second half, but the beat just goes on. This only the 5th third down that they have faced. 3rd and 2. Robinson, he picks it up with ease. The 240-pound true freshman, tough to wrestle down.
Wow, and tremendous patience too. He thought about cutting that back to the right, not there. Thought about bouncing it outside to the left, not there, and then just put his foot in the ground and got upfield. Watch this. This was working to the left. I'm going to cut back behind 57. No, okay, I'll bounce it out. No, around 71, and there's just, again, white jerseys pushing scarlet jerseys downfield.
Now Andrew Paul comes in, the redshirt freshman who's back from an ACL a year ago. He's had minimal playing time this year. Empty look for Stockton. Stockton design quarterback run, breaks free inside the 10, and it'll be 1st and goal Georgia as they look to go over 50 points today.
And all Stockton's looking at, this is a run pass option. He's counting the box. You see a defender down. That's Azareye'h Thomas for Florida State, but he sees 1, 2, 3, 4. If there was a 5th guy or a 6th guy, he might call this off and throw it, but only 4 guys in there, he's going. They've got an extra blocker and a lot of green grass. It's a good decision in the RPO game by the QB.
How about some of these bursts of athleticism from Gunnar Stockton? As Thomas is down, their starting corner today with Renardo Green out. 1st and goal when we return. Beautiful shot of the Big Guitar Hotel at the Hard Rock. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Jess, that is like the spot now here in South Florida. Saw John Mulaney there a couple weeks ago do his stand-up, just crushing it.
There's a lot of fun to be had in South Florida.
Just a little bit.
Greater Miami area.
1st and goal for the Dogs. They shift the tight ends with Lucky and Spurlin to the right side. Now Cash Jones, the running back. Stockton. And he's going to cash in to Lawson Lucky. A freshman tight end who has a bright future. Very impressive, very athletic.
Well, it's a great job and great patience by Lawson Lucky because he's got a sell block on this. They're trying to sell run and get everybody on Florida State's defense to freeze before releasing out into the flat. So you see here, number 7, he's just working the DB, holding, then he releases. and he gets to the flat. This has been a true freshman fest, by the way, on this entire drive, right? You got Gunnar Stockton doing a great job, the freshman quarterback. Roderick Robinson at running back. We've seen the tackle. Monroe Freeling.
How about Pierce Spurlin, the other tight end?
Yeah, also made a big play, and now Lucky. I mean, talk about the talent Kirby Smart's brought in.
Would ring the extra point.
You know, guys, Lawson Lucky actually arrived last season during bowl prep. He participated in the practices leading up to the Peach Bowl, and he impressed his coaches. Lawson's dad, Mike, was one of 3 triplets to play for the Dogs. He played alongside Kirby Smart and Mike Bobo in the late 90s. So Lawson comes from a very tough football-minded family. Bobo says he has some short area quickness. He doesn't have the long speed that Brock Bowers has, but he's got a chance to be an inline flex-out guy that can do a lot of things. He missed about 10 weeks of the season after suffering an injury during preseason, but Bobo says he's really starting to find his groove as of late here.
Yeah, Katie, he told us, he goes, yeah, he played for one of the triplets. I just don't remember, or he was the son of one of the triplets. I just don't remember which one.
All smiles for Lawson Lucky. Had the tightrope ankle surgery at the beginning of the season. Now you sit back and look at these Georgia drives. I mean, they just went 10 plays and 90 yards with the backup quarterback, with freshman tight end. They're just playing their version of ball, and Florida State, with this diminished roster, cannot stop them at all. 56-3. Jesse, are we seeing 60 plus today?
I mean, it has that vibe, doesn't it?
It really does. And TCU knows what that is about. 65-7 in the championship game. Jared Goff is warming up. Day of football continues with a special edition of Monday Night Football from AT&T Stadium. Lions and Cowboys, and Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor, and that is going to be covered live by the Monday Night Football production team.
Jared Goff's sitting there, he's doing his arm circles, and he's like, all right, where are my check downs? Where are my hots and my sight adjustments against the blitz? Micah Parsons on the other side of the ball. He's going to have to play quick in this game, no doubt.
Ja'Kai Douglas on the tap pass from Brock Glenn as he turns the corner. Douglas has had to do it all for Florida State today. That's his 8th run of the day. He's been involved in the passing game as well.
Well, you see all the true freshmen over there having fun, chatting it up. The tight end, little group, and it looks now like Georgia's finally substituted their entire defense. They've got all their backups. Some more young guys on that side of the ball too.
Here's Glenn of play action. Downfield pass into coverage, and that ball is picked off by Dalen Everett. Everett, the very long and fast cornerback who has gained a lot of experience this year because the other quarterbacks stay away from Lassiter.
Yeah.
So they throw Everett's way.
Well, I lied. I said that all the starters were off the field. That was an incorrect statement. Dalen Everett's the only one left out there. He's the one that made the play. Nice job locating the football, and they're trying to hit Hakeem Williams on a post throw. The true freshman, and Lassiter's got his eyes in the backfield. He keeps his cushion, keeps that relationship, and he's able to locate it and make the interception.
Dalen Everett, sophomore corner. We told you the #1 recruit in the country is already part of the team. Early enrolled Ellis Robinson, so he's been there for bowl practices. He's a corner. Very rare, by the way, that a corner would be the #1 recruit in the country.
It's his first unsportsmanlike conduct. 15 yards, a second results in game disqualification.
Okay, I want to explain this to you because we talked earlier about how Georgia's defense only had 1 fumble recovery on the year coming into this one. Turnovers have been a problem. So the coaching staff during practice has been allowing their defense to celebrate and actually stop practice if they get a turnover. They've been showing them highlights of NFL turnovers, literally trying to positively give them mental visualization, like as if they're trying to manifest getting turnovers. And so the excess celebration, that's something they've been actually trying to promote in practice to get guys to come up with these big plays.
Glenn Schumann told us, though, I hope if we actually come up with a takeaway or a turnover in this game, they don't go overboard and we get a penalty. Well, that's exactly what we just saw.
Exactly.
Not exactly what he was hoping, but at 56-3, I think you can afford to have a little bit of fun.
The scoring record, by the way, for a winning team is when West Virginia put 70 on Clemson in the 2012 Orange Bowl.
Oh, that was
that Dana
Smith.
Holgerson. Yeah, the Dana Holgerson West Virginia team.
The push passes to Tavon Austin.
That's right.
Man, yeah, that was ugly.
So that's the mark. West Virginia had 70 in 2012. And now you see Georgia becoming the first program to score 56 in back-to-back. Of course, 65-7 was the final score of that national championship game.
You think Carson Beck's on the sideline now and he's like, dude, I'm watching all these true freshmen running backs and tight ends and receivers. And these are guys that I get to throw and play with next year too. I mean, he knew he was going to be good this year with all the weapons they have. It's looking pretty good next year too, including this guy.
Yeah, Cash Jones on the short pitch. And keep in mind who's coming in to play running back at Georgia.
Oh my God.
Trevor Etienne, the star running back with the rival Florida Gators, who is a phenom, of course, the younger brother of Travis Etienne.
And then London Humphreys from Vanderbilt, a 6'3" receiver, coming in through the portal, was an all-freshman SEC collection. Colby Young from Miami here, Hurricanes, 6'5". I mean, it's not just high school dudes coming in. They've got more portal additions at the skill spots on offense again.
Trevor Etienne added to this offense.
Gator fans were not happy about that, by the way.
2nd and 1. Paul. Near the line of scrimmage is taken down. Katie?
We know who wasn't very excited about Trevor Etienne transferring? Brett Thorson. He doesn't like the fact that Carson Beck is coming back, jokingly, of course, because he doesn't feel like he's going to be able to do his job, punt the football. He said, does anybody have the link to the transfer portal? And then when Trevor Etienne made his announcement that he was transferred to Georgia, Thorson tweeted, yeah, nah, things are not looking good for me.
Thorson's hysterical.
Goes a long way, guys.
Yeah, the Australian punter with the big mullet. He was actually one of the players that they invited up to the stage for the luncheon yesterday just because of his personality.
Well, obviously very creative, too, and very savvy with social media. It makes sense.
Andrew Paul shakes loose. And Paul, who we told you is back from the ACL with a big gainer.
And also a freshman. You're seeing some new bodies now all along that offensive line. We're just kind of rolling through the depth chart here. Regardless of who's out there, the Bulldogs keep putting points up on the board.
571 total yards at the end of the third quarter. 56-3. Georgia all day here at the Capital One Orange Bowl. Aiden Hutchinson getting ready for the 11-4 Detroit Lions at Dallas. That's coming your way at 8 o'clock on ABC and ESPN, a special edition of Monday Night Football. Of course, his old team getting ready for a little something out there in the Rose Bowl. Michigan and Alabama. Michigan with that #1 ranked defense in the country.
By the way, when you say 11-4 Detroit,
I know.
it just doesn't sound right. But it's true. I mean, they absolutely
you're
have.
Right,
I mean, they are legit.
Fans deserve it, don't they?
Yeah,
They've been through
absolutely.
so much for so many
Some
years.
of the best fans, too, in all pro sports.
Start of the fourth quarter. Robinson getting extended playing time and showing you what he's all about. At 6 foot, 240 pounds, a changeup of a true freshman battering ram running back.
We saw Lawson Lucky catch a touchdown. Now watch him out here get a seal to allow this ball to bounce outside. Really impressed with how Georgia's young tight ends have done at the point of attack in this game, being physical and being unselfish too, because there's a lot of tight ends in college football that just want to catch passes and catch touchdowns. They don't want to do the dirty work. These guys do.
20-yard run there. Stockton escaping the pressure and then tucking and running. Stockton's got fleet feet, man.
He does, and he's quick on his feet too, because he's watching Omar Graham cover a running back downfield, which tells him that I got to take off and run.
Hey, a couple weeks ago, watching that primetime SEC schedule reveal show, and then all of a sudden Georgia's pops up, and you see September 28th, and you see October 19th there.
This and this is bad. That's a neutral site. Florida's always a neutral site. Here's the good news, though. You get Auburn, you get Tennessee at home, where you've won 25 in a row. I mean, that schedule, that is a minefield.
Isn't it? at Bama, at Texas, at Ole Miss. Stockton with a man right on top of him, incomplete. But listen, this is the beauty of the new and expanded SEC. It's still 8 conference games for now. We'll see where it all heads to eventually. Many believe it'll eventually get to 9. Of course, what comes with this schedule, though, is the new 12-team college football playoff. So a little bit of leeway. You can catch a loss here. You can a little wiggle room.
Maybe 2 losses, too. And obviously, there's a lot of potential losses on that schedule. Listen, they've gone unbeaten during the regular season in SEC play 3 straight years. Going to be tough next year. I'll tell you, they've got the talent to do it.
Cash Jones able to bounce it to the outside, utilize the blockers, keep his balance, and a first down.
Well, that tough schedule is exactly why Kirby Smart says he's excited as hell to have Carson Beck back next year. He said, when you've got a quarterback, you've got a chance. You guys mentioned the tough road games. He said, you need a guy that's been in those wars, that's been in those battles. Smart says he's so pleased with the way Beck went about the decision-making process. He gathered information and he decided to return to get better.
He's going to be sensational come next year. This was year 1 taking over for Stetson Bennett. Stockton on first down breaks free again and is able to make 3 yards out of that.
But, I mean, that's the new reality now in the SEC with Oklahoma and Texas coming over. It's going to be cool, too, for Carson Beck and the rest of these players to get to go to Austin and experience that environment. Gerald K. Royal, Joe, you and I have called tons of games there. It's elite. And with Oklahoma and Texas now and their players getting to come to some of these SEC environments and vice versa, it just makes the experience for fans, for players, for everybody just so much better.
Yeah, there was one phrase I once said there. I forget what it is. Something about Texas being back. And maybe the mockery of that could be going away in the course of the next week and a half. To the end zone, and that is hauled in for a touchdown. Anthony Evans. Moments ago, Jesse, I turned to you and said, are we going to see 60? Well, look at the scoreboard, folks.
Well, you're going to see another true freshman scoring a touchdown. That's what we just saw. Anthony Evans, who had some punt returns against Alabama in the SEC championship game. He's now getting an opportunity out here, and he's winning a one-on-one matchup. I got to tell you, too, Gunnar Stockton, he's looked good every which way.
Result of the play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 9. 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. It is number 9's first 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct. A second result in game disqualification.
He's got man-to-man and a nice job in the pre-snap of Gunnar Stockton identifying that, and a bit of a contested catch. So nice job there, too, by Anthony Evans reaching back, making the stab, and doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, doesn't matter who's playing running back, receiver, tight end, offensive line. They're scoring at will. Have they scored on every drive except the very first one in this game?
Listen to this, Jess. So 10 Georgia drives that have gotten into Florida State territory, those drives that have crossed into Florida State territory, 9 of them have gone for touchdowns.
Wow. 10
times they've crossed midfield. 9 of those drives they've scored touchdowns. It is 63-3. This was the point. This is what Kirby Smart stressed all week long. Playing to their standard. Having this kind of approach. Out to make a statement. Even the young guys, freshmen like Anthony Evans. A 60-point lead in the Capital One Orange Bowl.
The College Football Playoff Semifinals. New Year's Day on ESPN.
Cannot wait for New Year's Day. Texas and Washington, the nightcap after that sensational Blue Blood Rose Bowl game. Michigan and Alabama. Remember, the record in the Orange Bowl is 70 points. Dana Holgerson's West Virginia team did that against Dabo's Clemson Tigers back in 2012. Georgia's sitting here at 63-3 with still 12 minutes to play. AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship.
Look how good Michigan's defense has been all year long, and What a challenge going up against an athletic quarterback like Jalen Milroe. They've done a really nice job getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They're getting it at 45% of the opposing quarterback's drops. It's been sensational, but Jalen Milroe's a different animal, as Georgia found out just a few weeks ago. I think that's a key matchup. If they can contain and try and slow down one of the better athletes playing the position.
Douglas with the carry. Jalen Milroe is not at all the same player he was earlier this season. You go back early this season, in September and October, remember he sat out one game there as they start to load up the trophy with the Oranges. He had 18 touchdowns and 6 turnovers. His QB rating was 77, but down the stretch, November and December games, his QB rating's 91, 17 touchdowns, 1 turnover.
No, and just like Carson Beck, in a way, got more and more confident every time he took the field, and the more and more success he was having, better and better he got, and so was peaking and playing his best football at the end of the year.
As they go, the ball is out with the jet motion there and the struggle to make the handoff to Williamson. And you saw there that Robert Scott just had a jump on the ball.
Yeah, Gabe Harris, a true freshman, he was able to slice through and beat Robert Scott up front. It's coming right here. He's able to just slant inside and show that quickness, and almost another turnover for a defense that had been struggling to get them all season long. We've seen the true freshman make plays offensively, Joe. Now you're seeing the true freshman on defense do the same.
That backs him up to a 3rd and 16. As Glenn, with time, gets it to the outside, gets it complete to Williamson, but he's short of that line to gain. Just to get back to the Milroe conversation, also give credit to Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator, young offensive coordinator, for changing the playbook, adding quarterback run plays.
You know, it's funny. You know, you make the comparison to Georgia and a new play caller in Mike Bobo and a new quarterback in Carson Beck, and there's an ebb and a flow and a time period where you get to learn about each other and what your personnel is. And I think certainly Alabama went through that as well with Tommy Rees and Jalen Milroe and figuring out the things he likes and doesn't like. And by the end of the year, both of those guys on the same page.
Evans with the fair catch. Just over 10 minutes to play. Will Georgia hit 70 today?
The Capital One Orange Bowl is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Taco Bell and AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Now Kirby's going to be picking through oranges again in moments. They weren't in the Orange Bowl for more than 6 decades, and now their second Capital One Orange Bowl in 3 years. Of course, 2021, the semifinal win in the Capital One Orange Bowl against Michigan as they were on their way to the national championship. That breakthrough win, their first title since 1980, then came back and did it again. And well, you watch this program, you watch this team, you saw what you saw all season long. You look at how competitive the SEC championship game was, the level that was played at, and you shake your head and just wonder, is this really not one of the 4 best teams in the country? I mean, if we're just going best, not
if you're not talking
resume.
about deserving, because it has been a unique year with Alabama beating them and then Texas having beating Alabama. But from an eye test standpoint, absolutely one of the 4 best.
Robinson continues to do his thing.
It's interesting, too, because that SEC game was close. I know it was only 3 points, but you can point to just a couple of plays. There was the fumble on the reverse, deep in their own end, and there was that 4th down catch by Alabama. I think it was Isaiah Bond.
It was Bond.
That didn't get reviewed. That I thought watching it was an incompletion. Of course, Bama would go on to score a few plays later. I mean, that very easily could have been Georgia winning that game. They finished number 1,
and I think that becomes part of the frustration when we just had the conversation we did, as this is 2nd and 1 and Robinson goes ahead, is, you know, we had these 6 teams that we're evaluating at the end of the year that the College Football Playoff Selection Committee was tasked with. And it felt like with Michigan and Washington, they went with the old way of looking, hey, conference champions and they're undefeated and it's most deserving and that's great. And then we threw the next few teams into a bucket of best team, Texas and Alabama, and then they grab the conference championships and Bama gets the signature win, the best of the year, and then you're left over with Florida State. You know what happened there. And then Georgia was just off to the side. And what do we do with Georgia? And obviously we know what happened in Atlanta, but for the football people I have talked to, Jess, in the course of the past month, from coaches to guys like you to analysts who watch every single game, when you sit there and you press him on it and you say, can you tell me Georgia, I'm just using the word best here, you're telling me Georgia isn't one of the best 4 teams in the country? Just what you see when you watch film.
If you're just evaluating the talent at every position, top to bottom on offense and defense, and all the NFL guys they have, and the quality of backups they have and the depth, I mean, no. I mean, they absolutely look like one of the 4 best. And I'll tell you, even for Florida State too, though, Joe, because we lived it, we went through it, we watched it in the ACC championship game. I mean, it's still weird to say that a Power 5 team went unbeaten.
First time it's ever happened.
And beat 8 teams that were playing in bowl games, the most in the country, and had big wins down the stretch with backups, including their 3rd-string true freshman quarterback in the ACC championship game, and they got left out.
Did everything they were supposed to do.
Everything they were supposed to do.
And the defense that day, and I know Adam Fuller here, the defensive coordinator for Florida State, who's playing all these young guys, has all the opt-outs, all the questionable injured players, as you see Jordan Travis off on the sideline. He's had a day he just wants to forget against Georgia. But his defense in that ACC championship game played as well as you have ever seen a defense play, with a season-high 7 sacks, with 14 tackles for loss, with 10 passes broken up, and then critical moments, the 4th down interception in the end zone as well. You cannot play better as a defense than Florida State.
People have to understand, if you haven't watched Florida State play football this year, that when that defense is fully loaded, they're an elite playoff caliber defense. Their NFL speed, their depth, their ability to be disruptive, they would give any of the 4 teams in the college football playoff problems, period. That's how good they were, and they showed it in this game. We saw it live, Joe. I mean, it was utter domination. That's the only way you can describe it. They took a Louisville offense that was averaging 33 points a game. They held them to 6 points. 7 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, 10 pass breakups. Brandon Fisk, the transfer there from Western Michigan, had 3 sacks in the game, not playing in this one.
You also saw Jared Verse, who's going to be a very high NFL draft pick. In a highlight there, he's of course not here. Tatum Bethune, who had that great play in the end zone, he's not out on the field today. It's just that kind of a reality for Florida State here in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Aerial coverage of this Capital One Orange Bowl is provided by Goodyear. Road tested, game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Joe, Jesse, and Katie with you here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. 63-3. If this holds up, Jesse, we could have bowl history. We will see what this final score is in terms of largest margin of any bowl game. Singleton with the carry.
You know, guys, Mike Norvell said these last few weeks have been the most challenging of his coaching career. He said the way he felt on December 3rd when Florida State was left out of the college football playoff will stick with him for the rest of his life. He said, what do you say to a group of young men that's done everything you've asked of them and it's still not enough? He said it was the greatest gut punch you could receive. And he also said it's not always fun being the leader, but it's times like these where you can be the most impactful as a football coach. He asked his team to dig deep today and to walk out of this stadium with their heads held high after what has been a phenomenal season, guys.
Katie, it's a great point. I mean, you just think about the emotional roller coaster that Mike Norvell has had to go through in the last 4 weeks.
Oh.
You start by winning the ACC championship.
You're on top of the world.
12 hours later, you find out you missed the playoff.
Offside. Defense number 44 causing the offense to false start. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
So you're heartbroken that you missed the playoff, but 5 hours later, you've got to be in a recruit's living room on a home visit trying to convince them to come play at FSU. On the recruiting trail, there's some wins, but then there's also some guys flipping. KJ Bolden flips to Georgia. You lose a big recruit to the Hurricanes, and then guys opting out of this bowl game. There's been so much that Mike Norvell has had to fight through. I got to say, Katie and Joe, he's the guy, and we're around him a lot. You know, he's always half glass full.
Yes.
And he just attacks it. And it's a great example, I think, for the rest of his players to see how you fight through that adversity and just play the next play. It's a tremendous example, but I can't imagine the emotion that he and this football team have been feeling for 4 weeks now.
And let me add to that in terms of the last 4 weeks, because all coaches in the sport are dealing with the turmoil and chaos of what the sport of college football's calendar in the last 4 weeks. As 3rd and 1, Span is getting the direct snap. And he will try to muscle ahead. He's close to it. Looks like maybe a half yard short because, Jesse, the football part of college football is glorious. We have great players and coaches and games, and the second most popular sport in America, and it's a great product on the field. The business of college football, the infrastructure of college football is broken. A calendar where you have the transfer portal, the early signing day, the coaches' turmoil and silly season of hirings and firings, of players coming and going while you're trying to bowl prep. That is pure chaos, and it gets us results like this roster right now.
It's all converging at the same time. I agree. Joe, the biggest thing I'm excited about for the 12-team playoff starting next year is fans. We're going to see the best players playing in these games. There aren't going to be guys opting out when a national championship is on the line.
I want to talk about that playoff next year. Listen, I'm happy we're going to 12, but there are still some things that need to be fixed there. We'll talk about that when we come back. Do you like gingerbread?
I'm not actually the biggest gingerbread fan.
It's an acquired taste. Let's go pinoli cookie next time out.
Oreo cookie.
Can we get a giant lighted pinoli? You made it?
I did.
Wow. Hard Rock Stadium here, where we will have the Capital One Orange Bowl MVP and trophy presentation still to come. So many players on Georgia had outstanding games. Of course, Carson Beck left at halftime. Milton had 9 runs for 104 yards. And a familiar name in at quarterback, Jackson Muschamp. As Georgia will be bringing this home in the last 4.5 minutes. So the scoreboard reads 63-3, and you size it up, and we could be having the largest margin of victory in bowl game history, Jesse.
That's in the history of all bowl games, 58 points. I felt like the national championship.
Last year, 65-7 last year.
I was going to say,
this is going to top it.
I was going to say last year was pretty bad. That's incredible.
Calvin Drake in at quarterback. This is Clark on the carry.
You know you're having a good day on offense when guys wearing 26 start playing quarterback late in the game.
Yep. What was your worst jersey number you were ever handed out in football?
No, football I always had 7.
Yeah. Well, you were a superstar since
John Elway was my guy growing up, so I was 7. Then I got to the Gators. I was lucky I got to wear 7. You know, I think like when I was on the Giants, 7 was retired by a center named Mel Hine, who like played in the 50s. He was a center. I couldn't believe it. So then I got number 3. Felt a little bit like a kicker, but I wore it proudly. Been pretty lucky.
Wilson Jackson back in at quarterback. They're platooning quarterbacks now. And there as well with a big smile on his face. All right, we brought up the future of the college football playoff. Everybody's thrilled that we're going to 12 teams. But, you know, there's been reports that indicate, obviously, with the dissolving of the Pac-12, that instead of 6 and 6, 6 automatic and 6 at large, we're going to 5 and 7. But what we want to show you, if you took this season, the results of this season, and you said project it forward with teams and conference realignment, what a college football playoff would look like, knowing that you have to have a conference champion getting the 1 through 4. Hey, it benefits Florida State, right? But guess what else it does? A Big 12 champion, the highest ranked future Big 12 team would be Arizona.
Okay, but here you're assuming Washington's in the Big 10.
They are next year.
But they wouldn't be the number 2 team if they had to play
no
Michigan.
Pac-12.
No, I know, but they would have had to play Michigan at some point.
But the point
and they wouldn't be the number 2.
The point being that next year you're going to have a college football playoff that's over-rewarding conference champions, giving them an automatic 1 through 4 and an automatic win as Muschamp goes ahead. Hey, I want to see that smile out of Dad.
Looking like Dad.
Look at Dad.
Boom, Muschamp on the sideline. He's
look at Will.
Teammates back.
He's saying, that's my son out there, folks.
McConkey's out there tackling Dad.
Hey,
Cash Joe.
Will saying, look at Jackson go for 14 yards in the Orange Bowl.
Good thing he got his mom's jeans in the athleticism department. Nice job tucking and running. for Jackson.
Jackson Muschamp. First down marker. They're going nuts on the Georgia sideline for
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Will Muschamp on the sideline, taunting for Georgia.
Adding to the total yards, Georgia has 670 total yards right now. As that will tick up. The most yards ever in an Orange Bowl game.
Such a cool moment for Jackson Muschamp, and really all these players too. I was lucky, Joe, to play in the Orange Bowl at the end of the '98 season. We played against the Donovan McNabb-led Syracuse team, and you just think about the tradition and the history of this game and all the great players that have played in this bowl game. And to get an opportunity, look how like he's just thinking to himself, my son is playing in the Orange Bowl. He's playing in the Orange Bowl. It's just awesome.
Of course, Will's been one of the good guys of the game for a long time. And Jackson out there making him proud. Great player at Hammond School, high school in Columbia, South Carolina. Daniels with the carry here. He's out there blocking too. Under 2 minutes to play in a 60-point margin. The largest margin in Capital One Orange Bowl history. Largest margin in bowl game by any team. Last year they beat TCU 65-7, and here it's a 60-point margin. Mike Norvell, what an incredible season, but he understood what he was up for today with this limited roster of all the opt-outs and the transfer portal chaos. But give credit to Georgia in defining their program and sending out the senior class with the most wins in Georgia history.
And that's key. Again, we're in an era of college football where if you're not playing for national championships, people ask the question, well, why are we even playing? And everybody's worried about their NFL draft stock and what's in their best interest.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 96. 15-yard penalty be added into the run, automatic, first down.
After the game, you can stay tuned for the Ram Trucks post-game on ESPN News. Of course, special edition Monday Night Football coming up with the Lions and Cowboys.
But I mean, just the overall attitude of this unselfish Georgia team, wanting to send those seniors out with their 50th win, wanting to take the field one more time together. Joe, it's a team that's accomplished so many things over the last several years. Back-to-back national championships, and one wasn't on the line here in this game, but they understand how special this opportunity is. They care about each other, like Kirby Smart says, and that overall feeling, especially in the college football world today, is one that needs to be celebrated. It needs to be acknowledged.
Team effort, playing to their standard, finishing what they started, and we're so happy to finish what we started with this crew. And I give thanks to you, Jesse, and you, Katie, for being great partners, and Scott Matthews and Jeff Evers, who lead this crew. Outstanding job each and every week on ABC and ESPN. Wonderful to be with you guys.
Oh, it's great being. It's been a gift. Thank you for all the espressos as well.
I've had one in my hand the entire fourth quarter.
You're working on your fourth espresso. 63-3 will do that to you.
But this is the largest margin, Jesse, in Capital One Orange Bowl history, 60-point win. The largest margin of victory in a bowl game by any team, topping their own record. .673 total yards of offense. That is an Orange Bowl record.
Yeah, it's been very impressive watching Georgia, utter domination in all three phases of the game. And so you put a period, you wrap a bow on this season, and now you kind of project to next year. And the schedule for the Georgia Bulldogs, it is going to be absolutely brutal. But some of the biggest news these last several weeks, learning that Carson Beck, their star quarterback, is going to be coming back next season. They've got so much talent, the skill spots. They'll have a bunch of playmakers coming back on defense, too. Having Carson Beck back really points this thing in the right direction, facing a brutal schedule to try and compete for another national championship.
I think everybody in the SEC is going to have that problem next year with the expansion with Texas and Oklahoma and dissolving of the East and the West for divisions. And as for Florida State, Jesse, I just want to get your thoughts on this, because this may be one of these games where you don't want to take anything away from Georgia, but you just put a line through it for Florida State. You remember how you got here, not what happens.
No, and Mike Norvell is building his own winning culture as well. Coming into this game, they'd won 19 in a row. There's a standard that they've built, and obviously a lot of their best players didn't play here today, but there's a lot of talent coming back next year. They've got a top 10 class in high school coming in next year. They're going to have some portal additions as well. The quarterback position is going to be a point that everybody's talking about in the offseason heading into next season, but no doubt it could be a special season for the Seminoles next year.
673 yards of offense. Georgia averaged 9 yards per play. They started with the running game. They never stopped. The defense did their job. Kendall Milton went for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 9 carries, setting the tone. 63-60 is the largest margin of victory in any bowl game by any team ever. Coming up next, it is Monday Night Countdown for Jesse and Katie. I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night. Let's get you to our good buddy, Scott Van Pelt. Take it away, Scotty.